You are not the father.
What?
Mr. Martin.
I told you.
What?
I told you.
You are the father.
I told you. I knew what it was.
No, that is not possible.
Yeah,
That is not possible. That is not possible.
I knew this.
I want to read it.
Mr. Martin, you are the father.
No, that is not possible.
I contacted him again when I found out that I was actually pregnant. He blocked me on Facebook.
You riding up on houses and having one night stand in cars and just making babies like they muffins. That doesn't mean you're not engaging in the behavior that could lead to you having more. Because you say you only have one son, but you may have a daughter today.
Plaintiff Miss Van Meter told the judge she wanted to prove that the defendant, Mr. Watkins, was the father of her child. She hoped the DNA results would confirm her claim. More than anything, she wanted to save their relationship.
Ms. Jackson, you claim Mr. Williams is a good-for-nothing man who would rather ignore his responsibilities than take care of his 9-month-old daughter, Amani. You say the DNA test will prove Mr. Williams is your daughter's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, you claim you made a huge mistake by having a one-night stand with the plaintiff. You say Ms. Jackson is a promiscuous nuisance who is trying to ruin your life, and there is no way you are her child's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Jackson, what do you mean by good-for-nothing man?
Mr. Williams knows this baby is his.
Despite her infidelity, Mr. Watkins remained a devoted father to the child. He grew up without a father and refused to let the child experience the same pain. His commitment was undeniable, but doubts still lingered.
What happened on May 28th of 2016?
Well, that was Memorial Day weekend, Your Honor. I had been drinking, and so was Mr. Williams. He contacted me on Facebook, asked me what I was doing. I told him I was just chilling. He asked me, could he come through?
That's a lie, Your Honor. She contacted me on Facebook.
He contacted me on Facebook and asked me what was I doing. I told him I was just chilling. He said he was in the area. I told him to come through. So I got in the car with him. We went to talking, and one thing led to another. We had sex.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Did you use protection?
No, Your Honor.
Oh. So, you have sex? Is this a relationship that continued after that? Did you all say...
The judge asked Mr. Watkins to explain how everything fell apart. His response left the entire courtroom in shock. Even the judge hadn't anticipated such a revelation.
And so I reached out to Mr. Williams on Facebook to let him know that it was late. So he brushed me off and said he was going to call me back, never called back.
So you hadn't talked to him since the car?
Yes.
He said he was going to call you right back and never called you back?
Never called me back.
Did you do that, Mr. Williams?
No, Your Honor. I did not call her back. She been blowing my phone up. Blowing my phone off through the Facebook app because she never had my phone number. Saying that her cycle didn't come on and things in that nature.
But you had sex with her without protection, right?
Everybody else did too, right?
Everybody else? Everybody else like who? Who is everybody else?
Well, who is
everybody else?
I want to know, like Miss Jackson, who is everybody else?
She know who everybody else is.
Your Honor, after the fact of me telling him that my cycle was late.
Wow. Miss Van Meter never denied her actions, which made things worse. She had already confessed to Mr. Watkins about her affair. However, she failed to mention that the man was her ex-boyfriend.
I contacted him again when I found out that I was actually pregnant. He blocked me on Facebook.
So as you're trying to reach him to say, hey, we had unprotected sex, I found out I'm pregnant, you could be a potential father, he's blocking you on Facebook.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
you don't have his phone number.
No, you
So
won't.
what do you do?
I created a fake page.
Created a fake page.
Pages.
A fake page and reached out to him again.
Pages.
To let him know that I was indeed pregnant.
And did you ever get any response?
No.
So you were ignoring this.
Yes, fake pages, and I don't allow disrespect. You calling me about something and you disrespecting me, that's a no-no.
Her story seemed inconsistent, making it hard to believe. She claimed they had used protection during the encounter. Mr. Watkins, however, called her statement a complete lie.
After she started hitting me up on these fake pages, disrespecting me, talking about what I need to do, she kept saying, the baby ain't mature yet, and she talking about child support. I'm like, child support? And you just said you were pregnant? So she looking for a handout.
And so you felt like she was chasing you down about the baby because she needed support for the baby, and you felt like she was targeting you.
Yeah, she was targeting me, reason being, she stated that she had sex with another dude right the next day behind me. So, and then once she told me that, I said, why are you chasing me down about...
How did you find out she had sex with another man?
She told me.
What happened? Tell me the story.
She was like, Eric, I'm gonna be honest with you.
He loved the child. The doubt wouldn't just disappear. Miss Van Meter had even told him he didn't have to stay. Yet, for reasons only he understood, he chose to be there for the child.
I called him, yes, and I did tell him that I was with somebody else.
The day after?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you didn't use protection?
No, Your Honor.
So did you tell this other man you were pregnant as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you tell this other man it could potentially be his baby as well?
No, Your Honor.
Did you put this other man on child support?
No, Your Honor.
So why is it you're choosing Mr. Williams?
Because this man hasn't gotten anyone pregnant and doesn't have any kids.
We have to go by the facts. And the fact is, if it has not been proven that the other man is unable to father children, you've never been provided any medical information about this other man.
She admitted to deceiving the other man because she wanted Mr. Watkins as the father. The judge tried to make her see the gravity of her actions. She defended herself by saying it was all for love.
You put Mr. Williams on child support, but the other man's family helps you with the child?
Yes, Your Honor.
What you up to?
I just went with whoever was gonna stand up, Your Honor.
No, you went with both. You didn't go with one or the other. You got Mr. Williams on the hook talking about child support for him. Did you go down to the child support office?
Yes, I did.
And gave him his name?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
So you playing two sides of this particular field?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so have you been responsible for child support all this time?
Like I was the only name that was on the sheet.
So Miss Jackson, when you went to the child support office, why is it you only put Mr. Williams' name on the paperwork?
Her reasoning didn't change the fact that the child had two potential fathers. The only way to settle this scandal through the DNA results. Was Mr. Watkins the father, or was it her ex-boyfriend?
And I hope it makes some sense, because neither one of you all got any sense right now. This little faulty logic y'all living off of is a hot mess.
A couple of months into my pregnancy, I had got a phone call from a friend asking me, did I see the post that Mr. Williams had posted on Facebook? I told her no. So we got off the phone, I went on Facebook, and I see he posted a baby shower invitation with him and another woman who was pregnant at the time.
So you had another woman pregnant at the same time Miss Jackson was pregnant?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? This right here, this is just messy. It's messy. Now you got one woman pregnant. Yeah. So that means this rendezvous you had with Miss Jackson is nothing new for you.
Meanwhile, another courtroom drama unfolded with Miss Jackson and Mr. Williams. Miss Jackson accused him of being an irresponsible man. She believed the test would prove his paternity and force him to take responsibility.
The father.
I told you. I told you.
You said you don't mind no child support, so we're not going to have any problems.
It won't have no problems.
Good.
I apologize for everything dealing with the situation at hand. I'll make sure I take my responsibility as a man and take care of money.
Good. And you have to understand, when you create a situation where you can potentially make a child, when the woman then is pursuing you and you are avoiding her purposefully, you are not just running from that woman. In that instance, you were running for your own child. And Miss Jackson, that behavior, Miss Jackson, running around having sex, anybody tell you cute and you letting them pull your
The plaintiff, Miss Van Meter, told the judge she wanted to prove that Mr. Watkins was the father of her child. She hoped the DNA results would confirm her claim and help her save their relationship.
Meter, after a recent medical scare, you realized it is imperative that you prove to the defendant that he is the biological father of your 3-year-old son, DeCedre, so you can put his name on the birth certificate. You are hopeful today's results will help save your family. Mr. Watkins, you say your paternity doubt has destroyed your relationship with the plaintiff, and when the results prove you are not the father, you are gone forever. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Van Meter, what is the current status of your relationship?
We are not in a relationship. We just live together at the moment.
Okay.
We broke up because of the simple fact that I cheated.
Despite her infidelity, Mr. Watkins remained a dedicated father. He grew up without a father and refused to let the child go through the same pain. His commitment was clear, but doubts lingered.
Also, I play father to her other child that doesn't have a father in her life, so I'm taking care of the whole crew.
And I understand that and I respect that, but it's just like he makes me feel like it's a financial thing of why he has stayed need, and it's not, because we're going to be okay. And I mean, I think he could still father my child even if he's outside of the house.
So, Mr. Watkins, what I want to understand from you is it's bigger than I'm just staying in the house because this child needs to have a father.
Right, because I found out she cheated, and that's what, like, I didn't understand why. Because I felt like we're all adults. If you want to be in a relationship, you're going to be in one. If you don't want to be in one, you don't.
Okay, well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, as they say.
The judge asked Mr. Watkins how he discovered Miss Van Meter's betrayal. His response left everyone in the courtroom speechless. Even the judge hadn't expected such a shocking revelation.
I saw her on the couch texting, but I could clearly see what she's doing. She's texting and deleting messages. She's like, oh, I was just talking to my friend. What you deleting messages for? Then she pretty much was arguing about it, the fact of what she was saying, and I was like, you wasn't saying that because you deleted them. So I left just to cool down because I don't like sticking around arguing about nothing. So I was coming back. One of her family picked me up and told me that they saw her outside in the car doing what she was doing with the dude.
What?
Yeah.
You said doing what she's doing?
Pretty much she was having sex in the back of the car.
Miss Van Meter, are you in the car with the guy you were texting?
Yeah, but it was because he was leaving, and I was telling him bye at first.
So
he came on to me, and it just ended up.
Miss Van Meter never denied her actions, making things even worse. She had admitted to sleeping with another man, but claimed he was just a friend. What she failed to mention was that this friend was actually her ex.
You said it was a friend, right? But that person that you claimed to be as your friend was the person that you said that you dated a while back.
A long time ago.
So it was never a friend. So you was on the phone with your ex texting, deleting
Well, this is the part. It always happens like this, because it's always that okie doke where it's like it's just my friend, and that's why in this courtroom we always ask, have you ever been intimate with that person?
No.
Because you had never been intimate with that person in the past?
No. Me and him.
So the first time you ever had sex with that person was in the car?
Yes.
I thought Mr. Watkins just testified that this was a person that used to date previously.
It didn't date him. When I talked to him, it was just talking.
Her story didn't add up, making it hard to believe. She claimed they had used protection during their encounter. However, Mr. Watkins called her statement a complete lie.
Mr. Watkins, you seem like you don't believe that.
She didn't use it. She told me she didn't use it. And then she
I
told me
you
she
I did not remember.
She said she didn't remember. Then she said she didn't. Then she did. Then she said she did. So there you see where my doubts come from.
So, Mr. Watkins, the truth is you believe this man she had the encounter with in the car, could be DeCedre's true biological father.
Right.
Do you have any additional doubt or evidence?
I don't really have a bond with him. Like, I love him, but every time I see him, I just see him the same way I see her daughter. Is, those are her kids. So I just see him as just a cute kid. He's cute and he's awesome.
He loved the child. Doubt couldn't just disappear. Miss Van Meter had told him he didn't have to stay after learning about her betrayal. Yet, for reasons of his own, he chose to be there for the child.
Yeah, and
surrounding the timeline is real.
And I know that, and I told him that, and I respected that, and I told him he didn't have to stay. He has chose to stay. He was there during the whole birth. He was there. He cut my son's umbilical cord.
But Miss Van Meter, have you ever told the other guy he potentially was DeCedre's biological father?
I ran into him when my son was 3 months old, and he asked me if I ever found out if my son was his or not, and I told him that I did because I didn't want him involved, just because I want him to be the dad, because my son acts just like him.
He acts like me because he's around me. He's gonna take up things from me.
But I want to understand this though.
She had lied to the other man because she wanted Mr. Watkins to be the father. The judge tried to make her understand the seriousness of her deception. She defended herself, saying she did it out of love.
Because I love him and I do want our relationship to work. It's not like that I don't care if he leaves or not, because it would hurt me. It really would. I do love him and I care about him, but I don't want him to feel like he's trapped.
So the truth is, you do want your relationship to work.
Yes, I do.
And you do want him to be the father of your child, not just in deed, right?
Yeah.
But in name as well.
Yeah.
In biology.
Yes.
And you're hoping that these paternity results will save the relationship.
That is because I had a scare about my cancer, and I had a biopsy done. At the end of the day, if something happens to me, I want my son to know who his dad is, because I want him.
Her reasoning didn't change the fact that there were two possible fathers. The only way to end this drama was to reveal the DNA results. Was Mr. Watkins the father, or was it her ex-boyfriend?
Mr. Watkins, you are the father.
All right. Ooh. That's my boy right there. No wonder he's so damn bad.
That's funny. I've never heard that. But Mr. Watkins, I'm so glad DeCedre will have his daddy in his life, and you will be able to be there, and most importantly, be able to break the generational curse that you spoke about when you first began to testify in this courtroom. That you had made up your mind you were going to be the father you did not have, right?
Right.
And not only be the father, but be, so you know from this moment forward, he's taking his cues from you.
If he takes it from you.
Miss Bruton admitted to sleeping with both her boyfriend and her ex. Now both men wanted to be the father of her child. Judge Lauren Lake was furious, and here's how it all started.
To be 100% positive that Mr. Martin is not your son's biological father because your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Richardson, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say today's DNA test will allow you to get rid of Mr. Martin and to finally reconcile your relationship with Mr. Richardson. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Martin, you say Ms. Bruton led you to believe that you had fathered her 7-month-old son, Logan. You claim Ms. Bruton kept the baby from you in hopes that she could build a family with Mr. Richardson and not you.
Yes.
Miss Bruton was convinced that her boyfriend was the father. However, her ex-boyfriend refused to accept that story. He claimed he was intimate with her around the time of conception.
Alone.
Yeah, by looks alone.
But Mr. Martin, you disagree.
Yes, because I know I had unprotected sex around the time that she conceived. She might say I didn't have it as many times she said I did, but I know it's a fact. And
No.
it's 99.7%
No, Your Honor.
that it is mine.
No, Your Honor. We only had unprotected sex twice.
No.
That's it.
Your Honor.
Twice.
Your Honor.
In my apartment, twice.
Your Honor, it was 3 at her apartment, 2 at her family member house, 1 at my house, and 1 in the car.
You know it only takes one time anyway.
Yes, it only takes
All
one
right.
time.
So you say this is your child, Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Miss Bruton initially made her ex believe he was the father, but then she disappeared without a trace. The truth was she wasn't sure who the real father was, so she told both men they could be.
Hey, I'm pregnant and you're the father?
First of all, I called both of them because I wasn't for sure who was the father because I slept with both of them around the same time.
Okay, so you do admit his testimony is true.
Yes.
Take me back. I want to understand this relationship. So how do you get to the point where you're in the relationship with Mr. Richardson, but you're having sex unprotected with Mr. Martin?
Okay, me and Mr. Richardson, we was having our ups and downs in our relationship. And so when I met Mr. Martin, I confided him as a friend, and then our friendship grew into a sexual relationship.
Clearly, Miss Bruton had crossed the line in her relationship. However, Mr. Martin, the ex, had his own secrets. When asked if he wanted a relationship with Miss Bruton, his answer shocked everyone.
You were just the go-to guy, Mr. Martin, or did you think you were in a relationship?
Nah, I was just the go-to guy.
So you knew that?
Yeah, I knew that. I really wanted me a child at the time, so I was trying to get her pregnant, and I did tell her that.
You were trying to get somebody pregnant that you
pregnant.
didn't want to be in a relationship
Yeah,
with?
but I didn't want to be in a relationship with her.
But you were trying to get her pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you just gonna go out and just make a baby with anybody?
No, not with anybody, but
that's what you're
I gotta get to know you, though.
Okay, but you're not even in a relationship with her.
No.
Nor do you want to be in a relationship.
No, you're
But
not.
you're going to go make a baby. You want to purposefully make a baby with her.
That's when
Yes.
And how old are you?
19.
19 years old.
Judge Lauren grew even more frustrated as the discussion continued. The timeline of conception was brought up, but both sides disagreed on key details. Miss Bruton insisted on one date, while Mr. Martin said she was lying.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it is true. We only had sex twice.
Listen, that's so not true.
You're disputing those days?
Yeah, yes,
When
yes.
do
I'm
you
not
say
disputing.
you were intimate?
Before the 7th, it was like on the 5th, maybe. That was the first
That's
time.
only
So
that was-
you're
Okay.
saying you were intimate with her before and after this
Yeah,
date of
before-
conception?
yeah,
Well, let's
yeah.
just be certain.
Before
What
she-
she has already testified to puts you in the window of conception, regardless.
Yes.
So, in many ways, you in there.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are a possible father of this child.
I don't
So-
know who he think he slept with more than twice, but it sure wasn't me. We only had sex twice.
To make matters worse, Miss Bruton kept her affair a secret from her boyfriend. She claimed he was the one who supported her throughout the pregnancy. Meanwhile, she painted Mr. Martin as a troublemaker, trying to ruin her relationship.
So who stepped up for you during this pregnancy?
Mr. Richardson.
Really?
Yes, I was trying my best to avoid Mr. Martin because he's very messy, trying to break up me and Mr. Richardson's relationship.
I didn't.
And I
But
want
when
Mr.
you
Rich-
told him he was a potential father,
Yes.
wait, Mr. Martin, did you try to be there? Were you trying to go to
Yeah,
Dr.
he tried, but try to. I wasn't hearing it. I wasn't seeing it.
At first she did. I was trying to do that, but then after them 2 weeks, she just disappeared. It was like nothing else.
Where did you go?
She just. The phone.
I just wasn't answering the phone. Every time he'd come see a family member of mine, I wouldn't be around it because I didn't want to see him or have nothing to do with him.
She admitted to shutting Mr. Martin out of the picture. Still, she let her boyfriend sign the birth certificate, hoping he was the father. Even now, she had no real idea who the father actually was.
Because I wanted Mr. Richardson to know all of that. I didn't want Mr. Martin to know none of that because I don't want him to be Logan's father.
So you allowed Mr. Richardson to sign the birth certificate because you think he's the father or because you hope he's the father?
I think he's the father and I'm hoping he's the father.
Both. So now he's legally responsible for this child.
Yes.
When you sign a birth certificate, you are acknowledging paternity and you are taking responsibility legally for this child. And now you're in paternity court with another man that says he's also this child's father, and the reason why he believes that is because you told him.
Father because he wants kids so bad, but
Judge Lauren had had enough of the chaos. The only way to settle this dispute was through DNA results. Would Mr. Martin turn out to be the real father?
Mr. Richardson, you are not the father.
What?
Mr. Martin.
I told you.
What?
I told you.
You are the father.
I told you. I knew what it was.
No, that is not possible.
That
is not possible. That is not possible.
I knew this.
I want to read that.
Mr. Martin, you are the father.
No, that is not possible.
We need to get something.
He don't look nothing like him, so how is he the father?
Miss Bruton, I realize you thought you were playing a game of chess, but the DNA is not a game.
I hope you're ready, because this case is like no other. Miss Kingsbury appeared in court to prove that Mr. James was the biological father of her child. However, Mr. James insisted he could prove otherwise and refused to accept the baby.
You say you were in a romantic relationship with the defendant, Mr. James, and planned to have a child together, but when your 11-month-old son, Chance, was born, Mr. James turned on you and began to deny paternity. You are here to prove Mr. James is the biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. James, you say you had stopped all intimate relations with Miss Kingsbury during the window of conception. You say you can prove this is not your child with undeniable medical evidence. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Kingsbury was upset that Mr. James was denying both her and the child. Mr. James claimed they had initially agreed to have a baby together. Their relationship, which started as a friendship, took an unexpected turn.
You were a couple
with him.
in love, or you just staying with him, or you living with him?
We were in love with each other.
You were?
Yes, we were.
No.
What is your opinion of the relationship?
My opinion, Your Honor, is at first, yes, we did plan to have a baby. At first, relationship, it was fun, adventurous. I think I could count on her. She was supportive. That was the nature of relationship at first.
So what are you trying to say, that we weren't in a relationship? We didn't have love for each other?
Are you trying to say that, Mr. James?
I didn't say we didn't have love for each other. I said I wasn't in love.
Something about Mr. James's story didn't seem right. Miss Kingsbury then made a shocking revelation. She admitted that she had lied to Mr. James at one point, and from then on, things started to fall apart.
Tell him who took me. I lied about, I told him that it was my sister who took me, but it was a customer of mine. I asked him if he can give me a ride to work. I did what I had to do to get to work. I didn't have a way. I had to take my daughter all the way to the other side of town to her godmother, and I had to get to work. I paid the young man gas money. And another thing, when I was going to get my nails done, the young man was on his way to my house to get his money. Me, Kenneth, and my daughter was walking to the nail salon to get my nails done, and the young man gave us all a ride. So if he felt any way towards me and this young man, he wouldn't have got in the car with us. He was there when I gave the young man his $10.
Apparently, Mr. James was not a very forgiving man. After she lied to him about a work ride, he began hearing rumors. People claimed that Miss Kingsbury had been on more than just one ride while he was away.
Hearing rumors about her with other guys?
Yes, I heard rumors. Like my friends that stay in the neighborhood, they used to tell me that she used to get out cars with her, whatever means these are, I don't know, her co-workers or like what she just explained, her
That's
her
hearsay,
customers.
He say, she say.
No.
He ain't never witnessed me get out of no car with nobody.
I ain't
Now
got
the
no
time
witness.
that we were together, excuse me, the time that we were together, me and him spent all of our time together. You ain't never seen me get out of no car with no man. And the only friend that I have that is a man is my daughter's godfather.
At least Miss Kingsbury admitted to lying and came clean about it. But Mr. James still believed she was hiding more. He told the judge that because of her dishonesty, he could no longer trust her and suspected she had been cheating.
That's not the kind of ride to get you pregnant.
No.
Thank you.
Of course.
Right?
I got a ride home from work.
Of course,
So now I have to understand your doubt specifically. What does this have to do with the paternity?
Mistrust can lead to somebody cheating, and also if you lie, that also lead to different like session or whatever, different sequence of your life that you can do those type of things.
So now, Miss Kingsbury, he's saying that now you've started a pattern of lying. Is that true?
No, I told him one lie.
Okay.
What happened next made the situation even more intense. After Miss Kingsbury told Mr. James she was pregnant, she made a shocking discovery. Mr. James had also gotten another woman pregnant around the same time.
At the time Miss Kingsbury was pregnant, you had someone else pregnant as well?
Well, yeah, you can say that.
So you wasn't sleeping too much?
I was sleeping.
No,
I still was sleeping. But I wasn't talking to her at that time either, though.
Yes, he was.
At the
he
point?
moved on after Thanksgiving when he was driving down the street in his car and yelled out the window, "That's why I got someone else pregnant."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All right, so how does it get to the point where you riding down the street, yelling out?
I stayed at his house the night before.
No
and that
understanding,
morning
so
when
arguing.
we got up, he was arguing with me about diabetes. I'm a diabetic.
Despite this, Mr. James was present when the baby was born. He even signed the birth certificate, which raised more questions. If he truly believed the child wasn't his, why did he take that step?
Were you at the hospital? Did you participate in the birth?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, I was right there when he was born.
He was.
But not her C-section, but when he was there, I was holding him. I seen him pee-pee.
He signed the birth certificate. He signed the birth certificate and everything. He did.
Because I thought
My
that's
son
the right
has his
thing
last
to do.
name.
Even though I had my doubts, as a person, I believe in God, whatever like that. I believe as a man,
The doubt
take
is-
responsibility.
At what point do you really have real doubt that this child is yours?
I think when he was like 2 months, the sickle cell trait.
Okay. Chance was born with the sickle cell trait.
Yeah.
Mr. James argued that his doubts were valid, especially due to a sickle cell trait issue. The judge refused to take any chances and called in an expert. The expert explained the genetic factors behind the condition.
How is the sickle cell gene passed to a child from a parent?
Okay. The genes for sickle cell disease are very simple. You get a gene for hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the red stuff in the red blood cell, and that's sickle cell disease is a problem with hemoglobin. So you get a gene for hemoglobin on the sperm from the father, and you get a gene for hemoglobin from the egg on the mother, okay? So the way you get sickle cell trait is one of the parents has to have it. So that means that yes, absolutely, one of them has to have sickle cell trait in order for the baby to have sickle cell trait.
So that means if I don't have it, if my mother don't have it, my dad don't have it. So somebody on her side of the family gotta have it.
I don't have it and my daughter don't have it.
Since neither of them could agree on the sickle cell trait, the judge had no choice. The only way to settle this was to reveal the DNA results. And with that, the final verdict was announced.
Mr. James,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are the father. That's your beautiful little boy. How do you feel? It feels good to know for sure?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. What are you feeling in this moment, Miss Kingsbury?
I'm just thinking about everything I went through. I don't have to lie about who my child father is. It just hurt because I went through a lot the past 2 years. For real, I took a lot.
In this case, the plaintiff, Mr. Calhoun, claimed that his girlfriend, Miss Prout, tricked him into believing he was the father of her child. After finding evidence that she had been with other men, he insisted that a DNA test would prove otherwise. He opened his case with strong accusation.
Bring evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Prout, you claim that you are positive that Mr. Calhoun is Amaya's father, and the only reason he is denying her is because you put him on child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Calhoun, you say Ms. Prout is pinning this child on you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Me and Miss Pride have been friends for a while, but when I seen that she wanted to make a relationship out of things.
Mr. Calhoun was never ready for a serious relationship with Miss Prout. Despite making it clear that he didn't want commitment, they continued being intimate. Eventually, Miss Prout discovered she was pregnant.
You still continued to have sex with him after he made it clear he didn't want to be in a relationship?
Correct, Your Honor, I did.
And at some point you found out you pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test. It was positive. The lines were fainted. The next day I told him and showed him the test, but we were both in disbelief.
That's not true, Your Honor.
We were both in disbelief, Your Honor, that I was pregnant. He said he didn't believe me, but he wanted a DNA test. So in somewhere in there, you believed that I was pregnant because you wanted a DNA test.
It seems Mr. Calhoun wanted nothing serious with her. Blocking her on all social media was extreme. He told the judge that she might have taken fertility pills just to trap him. However, Miss Prout denied it, saying it was all a lie, since they weren't used.
She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
That's a bunch of bull.
Oh, did you say that, Miss Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what was said. I did not take any fertility pills. Once I found out I was pregnant, let me tell you how crazy. This is the crazy part. I did not believe I was pregnant. I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms, and they all confirmed I was pregnant. I was still in disbelief. Went to 3 clinics. They said I was pregnant. I'm still in disbelief. This is by September. By that time, I'm 12 to 14 weeks, and I conceived between July 21st and July 25th. Mind you, me and Mr. Calhoun
using protection. Why was he doubting the pregnancy now? Miss Prout even had a calendar marking the window of conception, which pointed to Mr. Calhoun as the father. When asked if he agreed with the dates, his response shocked the court.
When you look at that window of conception, Mr. Calhoun, do you have any issue
Yes, ma'am.
with the dates?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe you were intimate on
there's
July
no issue with the dates, but I'm saying I feel like I have reason to believe that she was intimate with other dudes besides me during those dates.
Really?
How do you have reason to believe that?
I have reason to believe that after a conversation that me and Miss Prout had on the phone, she told me that she was having sex with a dude all the way up until the day of the July 24th.
Oh! Are you smiling because that's true, Miss Prout?
That's not true, Your Honor. What's true is I was having sex with someone, but this was way before.
Now it all made sense. Mr. Calhoun wasn't the only man she had been with. Strangely, Miss Prout didn't even deny being with someone else. She admitted to sleeping with another man, but claimed she cut ties with him before the conception period.
These 2 weeks, it was 2 weeks prior, I had stopped messing with somebody else because I knew I was going to run into him at the parties. At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support. Period. Points. That's it.
It has no. It has
been back
no
and
deal
forth.
with child support,
One minute I'm the daddy, I'm happy, whoop-de-whoop, lamb. Then the next minute I'm not the daddy when you get hit with them papers.
Me, I came to the hospital just to see if she was pregnant. I never believed that she was pregnant. And she's laying there, the baby's in the nursery, and she's doing her paperwork. She says, "I'm doing this paperwork. Do you wanna sign it for your daughter?" I said, "I don't know if this is my daughter. I want a DNA test."
Things got even more suspicious when Miss Prout lied about a hospital refusing to do a DNA test. What was she hiding? Mr. Stulov. Calhoun told the judge that despite signing the birth certificate, he had serious doubts about the child's paternity.
At the moment you signed it, you still had doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what those doubts were.
My doubts come from, I'm walking to the store. I get to the store, I run into 2 neighborhood partners that I knew growing up, and they're like, "You got a baby by Miss Prout?" And I'm like, "Yeah, supposedly." She says her little girl is mine. And they tell me, "That's crazy because she said she had a baby by me before." And when I asked her to produce the paperwork and produce the pregnancy test, it was non-producible.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
So I felt
non-producible.
Yes, ma'am. Like she couldn't produce it. Like she couldn't produce it. She wouldn't.
That's a word.
That must have stung. Nobody wants to be in his position. But Mr. Calhoun wasn't just making accusations. He had solid evidence to back up his claims. The courtroom grew tense as he prepared to reveal the proof.
Posting this pic if you said I was the father. From Kia, Miss Prout. You a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
I posted it, Your Honor. Yeah.
You a dumb blank.
Yeah,
the only thing
But now you standing here saying you the father. I don't know why you denying it. I know why he denying it. That. Now, Miss Prout, you're in court. I want to say this. You're in court. So let's just understand that we're here to tell the truth. Were there any other men?
No, Your Honor.
Posting a conversation on Facebook made it even harder to trust Miss Prout's words. But the real twist came when a witness stepped forward, Miss Prout's godsister. She claimed to have even more details about what really...
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my godsister was already pregnant because of her demeanor, her...
Oh, what do you mean?
Her mood changed. She was very moody. So when he did come into the picture, they had unprotected sex, of course. A week later, she took a pregnancy test. That's not enough time to consider him a possibility. So, my opinion, he's not the father.
With such shocking revelations, there was only one way to uncover the truth, the DNA test. Without wasting time, the judge revealed the results. And with that, she delivered her final verdict.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Woo! Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. That's really crazy.
Why are you so upset, Miss Prout?
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man. Like, this whole beef thing, I can't co-parent like that. Either we gonna co-parent the right way or it's just not gonna happen and we can go to court and figure it out like that. But I just...
All right.
Her grandma.
Don't do that.
Had sex a lot more, and he was eating my. Then we did have unprotected sex that same night.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Say that
you
I'm
really gonna
lying.
lie like that?
You want to say that I'm lying?
Never have it happened in your life, but you wish you did.
On several occasions.
Nobody in my life talked to me, but they wouldn't listen to what I had to say, and he was there for me, and I gravitated to him.
John texting her, hey baby, you want some more? How you doing? This.
What?
Yeah.
You want some more? Miss Valentine, you wasn't paying for no taxi for no man you saw on a dating website to come to your house.
Miss Valentine aims to determine Mr. Jordan's paternity in a context of mutual skepticism.
Valentine, you are here to prove Jordan is the defendant's biological child. Mr. Jordan did not deny your son until you moved on.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jordan, you have always known you are not biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you open today's case?
I know 100% sure Michael is the father of...
Mr. Jordan asserts his involvement during the pregnancy, a point that Miss Valentine concedes as she narrates their first meeting.
Mr. Jordan, you are little Michael's biological father.
No, not at all.
You begged me to name him after you, and you've been there through my pregnancy. So if you want to keep lying in front of this judge, I suggest that you tell the truth.
Yes, I was there during the pregnancy, but I wanted the paternity test.
And I begged you several times to get it. You didn't do it.
You moved to Chicago?
Judge Lake expresses astonishment at Miss Valentine's account, indicating the presence of more intricate issues.
Even me.
Went on a dating app, and I saw Michael, and I swiped right on him. So, you know, I like him with a dash of ugly and stuff. He had a beautiful smile, but he had a little dash of ugly.
What? I think that's a first. You like your men with a dash of ugly?
He has a very beautiful smile, but he still has a dash of ugly. He's not ugly. He has a dash of ugly.
In my day, we used to say we don't like them too pretty. I get it. How soon after you swiped did you meet him?
It was the same night. Yeah. I sure did. I paid for his cab because it was going to go on my turn. And it was the very same night. Like I said, it was only supposed to be
As tensions rise, the judge pauses the proceedings to better understand Miss Valentine's viewpoint, revealing additional contentious elements.
You wasn't paying for no taxi for no man to come to your house?
We had protected sex, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm talking more about you didn't know who he was. Wait,
okay,
let me understand
up in this.
When he gets there, you say that night you have the one night stand.
He did use protection, Your Honor. Had sex a lot more, and he was eating my. Then we did have unprotected sex that same night.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Say that
you
I'm
really
lying.
Gonna lie like that?
You want to say that I'm lying?
Never have it happen in your life, but you wish you did. No, never happened. Never in my life.
Mr. Jordan articulates his doubts regarding infidelity, leading to a confrontation.
I'm knocking on the door. Next thing I see a light come on. Somebody with hair like mine, he came downstairs. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's been going on. Like, no, he just here for the kids. He babysitting the kids. So I'm like, all right. I start walking upstairs. ESPN was playing in her room, Your Honor. I don't watch basketball. She never watched basketball. Can you even name it?
In recounting his discovery of Miss Valentine's pregnancy, Mr. Jordan encounters disagreement, further escalating the conflict.
She showed me pregnancy tests. She showed me a couple of them. I wouldn't talk to her because I saw a man over her house. She know I keep money around. You have no income. You have no income. I pay her bills, electric bill. I paid it all.
Okay.
You ain't never bought my kids a damn thing.
I'm gonna give Ms. Valentine a chance to respond to your testimony.
While I was living back in Chicago, yes, I had somebody, we were no longer involved for months. That's the only other man besides my kid's father who had ever been around me.
A witness takes the stand, providing clarity on the matter.
Okay, Mr. Krebs. Oh, you brought an exhibit.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so let me see what Mr. Krebs has to offer.
He lived right over here. And in order for me to get to and from his house, I would have to go this way.
And when you would walk past,
I seen men coming in and out of her house.
Judge Lake poses a pivotal question, prompting Mr. Jordan to clarify his position.
Social media, that wasn't even text messages.
No, you had his number and his message. And
who is Pizza King?
I don't know.
I never met him in person.
I seen the messages. No.
I never had his number.
But who is Pizza King? What did you see her texting to Pizza King?
It was like baby, like stuff like that. Like,
you are
not
such
come
a
over.
liar.
In light of the discord, Judge Lake reprimands both parties.
It's been a lie since we've been here.
No,
for
it's
real
gonna
life.
affect you. People
So
gonna know
keep
what type of
playing.
person you
So
are.
Keep playing.
That how it work now?
Hey,
I stand
You have multiple men over there.
First, I'd like to say this is real life. I want to understand, but that screaming and hollering at the top of your lungs, you got a little baby here named after you. And all of this is a living, breathing person, a beautiful little boy. You were at the hospital. You said he cut the umbilical cord. What are you feeling, Miss Valentine?
He's been in love with my son since he was born.
Why do you think he's denying him?
Because of his friends.
After extensive testimony, Judge Lake presents the DNA results, bringing resolution to the conflict.
Determined by this court. Mr. Jordan, you are the father.
Miss Harding is attempting to establish Mr. Nelson as the biological father, a claim that he contests.
Ms. Harden, you have opened your case today in hopes of saving your relationship. You say he is now denying your 2-month-old daughter. You are certain he is the father. You want his help raising your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson, you say you are not Sophia's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you say you need help.
Delonte doesn't help me with anything. He won't watch her for 15 minutes while I go to the store. He walked past her like she Casper. He like, hey, get your daughter crying. He don't help me at all.
One, I don't see why, if I'm not 100% sure I'm the father.
Mr. Nelson provides an account of their initial meeting, which is challenged by Miss Harding's assertion that he is being dishonest.
Relationship.
I thought she was cool. She wanted to move.
And how did we get there?
Right.
Yes, it is.
He came down to visit with his family members, and then when it was time for him to go back to Louisiana, he asked me, do you want to come with me or do you want to stay?
I said you could come if you want to, but the best choice is to stay home with your...
Miss Harding reflects on the moment she learned of her pregnancy and her hesitance to inform Mr. Nelson, which raises a question from the judge.
At first, I panicked because I didn't know how he would respond. He didn't seem like a kid person.
Well, why were you having unprotected sex with this young man? And why are you following behind him?
And my mom died when I was 12. My dad's not in my life. My grandmother, she's not really there either.
Okay. Now I understand. We come here to tell the truth. So you were feeling alone in the world.
Never really had nobody in my life talk to me, but they wouldn't listen to what I had to say, and he was there for me, and I gravitated towards it.
You wanted to have his baby.
I felt like I was going to be with him for the rest of my life.
Mr. Nelson describes his first interaction with the child, emphasizing that he did not sign the birth certificate, a point that Miss Harding disputes.
What?
He came out like really like...
She been in the womb.
I'm black though.
Babies come out in all different shades. Mr. Nelson, did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor.
Like, this isn't my child, so I'm not signing the birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're on the way to the hospital. I called him multiple times. He left his ID at home on purpose, bought an empty wallet.
Well, on purpose.
Surprising evidence presented by Mr. Nelson catches the judge off guard.
Your Honor, it all started. We went back to Arkansas. They wanted to come stay with us. Being her ex-boyfriend, I thought it was disrespectful. Why would you want to be under the same roof? So I got mad and I left.
If he was with his new wife, why would it matter if they needed a place to stay for a moment?
All three of them had sexual relations with each other. I was...
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not stupid.
Oh.
So if I'm not there,
what is going on?
Mr. Nelson expresses his suspicion that Miss Harding's former partner may be the child's father, while Miss Harding concedes to having been unfaithful.
That put you back to that time we were going to leave the house.
Right.
She was having the threesomes.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you believe the ex, John, is really Sophia's biological father. You were not vehemently denying.
Correct.
So you do admit you were intimate with this couple.
Miss Harding's ex-partner enters the courtroom to provide his viewpoint, heightening tensions with additional evidence.
For the court.
John Patterson.
Why
are you denying?
Are they testifying, saying, what are we gonna do about our baby?
I never said that. They're both delusional. I got text messages and screenshots asking me to take a DNA test.
Let me see that. Can you do a DNA test for me? We talked before and you said you think she's yours. I mean, the timeline adds up. If Mr. Nelson's the father, why do you need a DNA test? You said you didn't sleep with him.
His family members kept coming.
That's not what the text message.
New developments arise, further complicating the situation and necessitating Judge Lake's involvement.
No, I did not tell John.
That's not true, though. You're asking him to have a DNA test because the timeline adds up.
I didn't claim he was my baby daddy. Well, I know who my baby daddy is, and it's not him.
Sex is not a board game. It really isn't. And at the end of the day, y'all just all up here arguing, and now we gonna have a threesome, and now we doing this. That's not really how it works.
Judge Lake is set to disclose the DNA results, which will bring clarity to the contentious matter.
Determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Nelson.
I just want to say I apologize to you. I just wanted to know the truth. He know what he was doing to stir all this up. I just want to say I was brought into this mess. I didn't start nothing.
Miss Jackson disputes Miss Pickens' assertion regarding her son's paternity, claiming that Miss Pickens has engaged in deceit, thereby setting the stage for a contentious legal confrontation.
Miss Jackson, you claim your son would be a fool to think he fathered Miss Pickens' daughter. As follows. When it comes to Keziah Pickens, Mrs. Jackson, you are her grandmother.
Her biological father has passed away.
Miss Casey, for more than 25 years, your mother told you the deceased man is your biological father. Now another man claiming he is your biological father. Miss Ewing, you say Mr. Edwards is not father. In fact, you are certain that a man named Otis Hawkins is in fact your daughter's father. Yes.
Miss Casey presents her life story to the judge, detailing the challenges she faced while growing up without a father.
My other siblings had their father. Me, it was like a dark hole. I was walking a dark hallway that it was never going to have no birth.
Mr. Edwards is your older sister's father. Mr. Edwards, you weren't in your daughter's life, am I correct?
I was losing this one. I'm not losing you.
Why are you so convinced that you're her father?
I don't even understand. It's like she looks so much like my family, you know, what my mom looked like. And my youngest daughter, too.
They look very similar.
The situation becomes increasingly complex with the revelation that the other potential father may still be involved.
You've had Otis Hawkins on your birth certificate.
At the age of 18, me and my husband sat down and we did a research. I found Otis Hawkins. They did not disclose if he was alive or deceased. I contacted the 3 numbers. They was all disconnected. So at that point, I just blew up and let it go.
What would you have said?
It would be like a dream come true. I would
delivers a startling revelation to Miss Casey and the other parties, which is bound to astonish them.
You've been told that Otis Hawkins was dead, but he's alive. Mr. Hawkins, into the courtroom. You need to sit down.
While Miss Casey experiences tears of joy, uncertainty lingers regarding whether Mr. Hawkins is indeed her father.
Sister lost. Look at you, baby. This is a picture I had. I love that bunny.
And Mr. Hawkins, thank you, sir, for joining us today.
I never stopped loving the car. I look at this picture every night. It hung over me. This picture been in this frame.
The moment arrives for the final determination of who the true father is.
Have been tested. In the case of Casey pertaining to whether Mr. Edwards is the father of Ms. Casey, Mr. Edwards, you are not the father. In the case of Edwards Hawkins, Mr. Hawkins, you are not her father.
Ultimately, the final outcome leaves Miss Casey with more questions than answers.
Ms. Ewing, do you know her father is?
Yeah, I do. His brother.
Mr. Hawkins' brother?
Didn't see that coming.
He was gone, and I had slept with his brother twice, and I was with him.
I can understand you might be in denial. Is your brother still alive?
Is he still alive?
Okay.
I was also told that Ginger was fooling around, which is Arabic.
Okay.
Ms. Ewing, it's time to lay it on the line. I will keep it real in this way. We're at the point now, we just have to tell it like it is.
Is your mom's name?
I didn't call you.
You did numerous times. You're gonna be like your mom.
Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
I want to feel like I'm burdening someone else if he's not my dad. Since he's saying that he's not my dad, so I don't want you to feel like I'm burdening you or you have to deal with me.
You are not.
I'm sorry.
fault.
The apartment that I have now is because I moved in because of Rangel. Because of Rangel. Rangel left me to go be with Ms. Rock. Stay down with everybody who you talk to, because that's what you do.
Me, you and the Lord know you a slut.
No, you're
Hold on.
You're a slut. You're a
Mr.
slut.
Wallace,
You're a
you
slut.
remember from the
You're a
last time
slut.
you were here,
I don't-
we are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. You can but do it.
Okay, but if you know the real truth and you know that he might not be the biological father, why give in to the name and name this child after him? Because knowing that there's a possibility.
I was in love with him. We were together all the time. I mean, he demanded it, that's what he wanted. He denied the DNA.
The case of McKinney v. Davis. Miss McKinney found herself in court, forced by medical circumstances to unravel a 32-year-old paternity mystery. She had brought Mr. Davis before the judge to prove that he was her biological father.
Mr. Davis, that he is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Davis, you claim you didn't know that she even existed until a few years ago and claim another man raised her and he is her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
At the start of the case, Miss McKinney stated that her mother had always told her that Mr. Davis was her father. She believed it because his name was on her birth certificate.
Well, you did sign her birth certificate.
No, Your Honor. She had to put it on. Her mom had to put it on there because I wasn't even around or even with her. She never even explained to me.
I objected. Back then they were married. So by law back then, if you were married, then that's your child.
Then that is you are the legal father to a child born in the marriage.
As the trial continued, shocking details emerged. Mr. Davis admitted that he had once been married to Miss McKinney's mother, but their marriage ended quickly. The reason? He claimed that on their wedding night, caught his wife with other men.
The day we got married, I took off and we got married and I had to go back to work. And so once I finished my shift off and I went back home, my house was dark. And when I entered the house, I turned the lights on, acknowledged my wife and two other guys. She in bed with two other guys. I left and I went to Hot Spring. I realized the thing was not going to work out.
Miss McKinney, however, had spent years searching for the truth. She revealed that her teenage boyfriend once told her that he knew her parents and could help her uncover the truth about her father.
I was dating a young man. One night he asked me, we were talking about family. He was like, let me see your birth certificate. I let him see mine. And he looked at me and was like, I know your mama and your dad. They called Michael and told him that it's a young lady here that got a birth certificate here with your name on it. So the next day they came down, we met.
At first, the potential father accepted her with open arms. He embraced her, making her believe that she had finally found her real dad. But everything changed when her grandmother passed away.
Tell other people that I'm not your daughter, but you tell me you didn't know at first, you had doubts, but then you knew yourself that I was your child. At that time, I looked at his mom and his daughter, felt like I looked just like them. I felt like I met my dad, like everything that he raised.
Mr. Davis, still firm in his stance, claimed that the man who raised Miss McKinney was her true biological father. But Miss McKinney quickly shut him down, explaining that while Mr. Williams had indeed raised her, he had never once claimed to be her father.
Always been Michael Anthony Davis is your father from everybody, even other men that's supposed to be the father. They always said Michael Anthony Davis is your father.
Mr. Davis, you believe that this man we're speaking about, Mr. Williams, could be Ms. McKinney's biological father.
I'm not for sure about that. I don't know.
At this point, Judge Lake took action and summoned Mr. Williams to the court. He stated that while he had never been sure about Miss McKinney's true paternity, he had always been there for her as a father figure.
What did her mom tell you about her pregnancy?
After we've been together, and then maybe about 6 months into the relationship, she told me she was pregnant.
Did her mother ever tell you you were her biological father?
No, her grandmother had said something once before.
And what did she say?
That she looked it like me.
Despite the heart-wrenching testimony, Mr. Davis stood his ground. Even as Mrs. Davis, his wife, testified that they had never doubted that Miss McKinney was his child, he continued to reject the idea.
Just a couple days ago, you told me something different. Stop lying to me. Just tell me the truth. One day you say, oh, I believe it is, then, oh, I don't know, then you ain't never not once told me that you felt like you wasn't my dad.
We never doubted that she was
raising his daughter.
As the trial neared its climax, Miss McKinney broke down completely. She had endured years of emotional suffering, all because of this paternity mess.
It's not for me. I want to know for my kids. What if I'm dead? Where they gonna go? Like, what?
And you
I had first stage cancer. What if I found out it was second stage, third stage? What are they supposed to do?
Now the only thing left was the final call, the DNA test results. Would the truth bring Miss McKinney the closure she desperately needed, or would it leave her with even more unanswered questions?
Mr. Davis, you are not.
I'm sorry. I'm putting you through this. No.
If you love this emotional roller coaster, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more shocking courtroom drama. Things always take a dark turn when greed and deception come into play. Miss Thompson is on a mission to defend her late brother Kevin's honor against Miss Lee, a 19-year-old woman claiming that Kevin fathered her 3-month-old daughter, Nevaeh.
Father was 100% positive that he was not the father. He stated that Miss Lee was a money-hungry, compulsive liar.
Really?
Yes. Basically, she was just one of the ladies that he was sleeping with at the time, and she claimed to be pregnant by him.
But he did not believe that.
No.
Miss Thompson's strongest piece of evidence? Kevin himself had confided in her that Miss Lee had been relentlessly harassing him about getting her pregnant. Yet, he was adamant he was not the father.
We did what we did. After that, I cleaned up, and after I cleaned up, I threw up, and my body reacted and started changing automatically. And I went to the store the next day, and I got 2 pregnancy tests, and they both came positive. And he said, "Oh, that's not my baby. That's not my baby."
Exactly.
Because he had multiple women.
Even Judge Lauren is momentarily stunned by the case. How could Miss Lee believe she conceived so quickly? Did she ever stop to consider that the nausea she experienced after being with Kevin might have simply been from drinking too much?
This isn't the first time that she claimed to be pregnant by him also. This is his
that's
word.
A lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. I ain't never, I don't want to be pregnant. You hear me? I ain't never walked around talking about, look how little I am. Come on now.
All right, hold on. You're saying this is the second time?
From his
What do you mean?
Miss Thompson stands firm, insisting that she trusts her brother's word over what she sees as blatant lies. But Miss Lee pushes back, claiming Kevin's family had always been against her and that they were outsiders who never truly understood her relationship with him.
What was the nature of your relationship?
We were together for 6 years, love.
If you call me love one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a habit.
Trust me, I get it, but you got to break it now.
Yes, you are.
Okay, you were together for 6 years.
Yes.
You weren't committed because you're saying he had other girls.
We were on up and downs, on and off.
On and off.
Correct.
So you also dated other people?
No.
The most devastating moment for Miss Thompson came just after burying Kevin, when she received a phone call informing her that someone had broken into his house. Rushing to the scene, she was shocked to find Miss Lee and her friends stealing Kevin's belongings.
He would have came to us and just said, hey, I want something to remember him by. Because we know he had, multiple women who probably wanted a piece of him.
Why would I do that in the way y'all said?
Like I said, we didn't know you at that time.
You still don't know
exactly.
Me. You think
I know nothing of you.
You're exactly right.
But the most brutal blow to Kevin's family came when Miss Lee had the audacity to demand a share of Kevin's property and money for her daughter before paternity was even confirmed. Was Miss Lee truly seeking justice for her child, or was this just another act of manipulation in her pursuit of financial security?
Okay, the day after the baby was born, she called another family member, not my mom, and asked her for his social security number. So that was the second time that she's asked for the social security number.
And you're asking for the social security number for what?
I asked one time, and so my baby can have some benefits, so she can have what she needs.
The court now faces the challenge of unraveling the truth behind Miss Lee's claim.
The Harris is related to Miss Thompson.
That's okay, so you still don't need them, baby. You don't need them.
They say the third time's the charm, and today, Miss Austin is about to find out if that holds true. Making her third appearance in paternity court, she has once again dragged along 2 familiar faces, Mr. Wallace and Miss Roberts.
Time you were standing on the defendant's side with Roniel.
Yes,
Mr. Wallace. Mr. Wallace, you back with Miss Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
But you still going back and forth between the 2 women because she's pregnant now and the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
So what's the issue this time? It turns out 9-month-old Ranielle still doesn't have a confirmed father. Mr. Wallace is convinced he isn't the father, but what shocks everyone the most is how he immediately starts cursing at Miss Austin, forcing Judge Lauren to step in and reprimand him.
Last time we was here, everything started out okay, but we all knew that wasn't gonna last long. Ranielle Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendra. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Ranielle, and she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again.
Apparently, Mr. Wallace is the one who can't stay committed. He seems to want the best of both worlds, bouncing back and forth between Miss Austin and Miss Roberts. To make matters worse, even though today's paternity case is about their second child, it's revealed that Miss Austin is now pregnant with another baby. Once again, possibly fathered by Mr. Wallace.
Wallace, as to whether or not her child is your child if you've been having babies with both of these women back and forth all this time.
I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. They would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my emails.
As tensions rise, an altercation brews, prompting Judge Lauren to restore order. She directly asks Miss Austin if she had been unfaithful to Mr. Wallace, but Miss Austin firmly denies it, even offering to take a lie detector test to prove her innocence.
Lay down with everybody who you talk to, because that's what you do.
Me, you and the Lord know you a slut.
No,
like,
you're a slut.
Hold on.
You're a slut. You're a
Mr.
slut.
Wallace, you
slut.
remember from the last time you were here,
I don't.
we are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. You can, but do it respectfully. So you believe she was sleeping around?
For the second time, Judge Lauren has to scold Mr. Wallace for his language. This man certainly doesn't hold back. Suddenly, things escalate between Miss Austin and Miss Roberts when Miss Austin accuses her of enabling Mr. Wallace's infidelity. The argument gets so heated that security has to escort Miss Roberts out of the courtroom.
Are you admitting that you also had a relationship with somebody else during the time?
No, I wouldn't even call it a relationship.
It was just someone else you were seeing?
Yeah, because I was hurt by trying to get back at Ranielle, things that he had done to me.
At the end of the day, you all can see now that two wrongs never make a right. They make more wrong.
Judge Lauren tries to bring Miss Austin back to reality, pointing out that while she may not have been physically involved with other men when she got pregnant, she did communicate with several behind Mr. Wallace's back. No wonder Mr. Wallace has doubts about the paternity of their second child.
You feel like these similarities are not compelling enough?
No, you can't just go off looks. I'm going off her actions.
You couldn't forgive her. You all couldn't work through this. Instead, you just went to stay with Miss Roberts.
That's false.
The apartment that I have now is because I moved in because of Ranielle. Because of Ranielle. Ranielle left me to go be with Miss Roberts.
In an emotional breakdown, Miss Austin expresses frustration over how Mr. Wallace keeps walking in and out of their lives. To her, it's not just about them, it's about their children. But Mr. Wallace believes she's just putting on a show. With trust shattered and emotions at their peak, only the truth can bring closure to this chaotic situation.
Has been determined by this court. Mr. Wallace, you are Ranielle's father.
Mr. Patterson isn't just heartbroken, he's furious. He was tricked into signing the birth certificate of 4-year-old DeMarcus, only for Miss Knight to suddenly claim that another man might actually be the child's father.
Since he came out the womb, since he entered this world, when the doctor first, held him up and finally gave him to him, I witnessed him just completely quit crying and looked me dead in my eyes, and at that moment I knew I became someone's father. So at that moment, all the doubts that we had before, I just knew they were just out the window and it was gonna leave us a happy family, but
it didn't happen that way.
Not exactly.
Both sides have completely different stories to tell. Looking back, when Miss Knight first discovered she was pregnant, she admits she confided in Mr. Patterson, telling him there was a possibility he wasn't the father. But what does Mr. Patterson have to say about that now?
Every day since then, DeMarcus ended up cheating on me within the time we were together, and I ended up leaving with Ladarius, with the alleged father, and basically we didn't work out at all. So I called DeMarcus to let him know, hey, I could be pregnant by Ladarius and you, and DeMarcus was like, well, I want to be with you.
To make matters worse, Miss Knight disappeared for 2 whole months after leaving Mr. Patterson's house. No calls, no messages, as if she had vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, Mr. Patterson's grandmother warned him that he was dealing with a reckless woman, someone who would slip right through his fingers if he wasn't careful.
Ended up having protected sex that night, and then we ran out of condoms, and while we were doing it, I told him to go ahead and get me pregnant. That's what I called DeMarcus and let DeMarcus know. I'm pregnant right now, and it's a possibility that it's Ladarius' baby or your baby. DeMarcus told me to come home.
So you got back together with Mr. Patterson.
Because me and Ladarius were like oil and water, and we could not do it.
The court is drowning in details, but at the heart of it all, Miss Knight insists that Mr. Patterson always knew another man could be the father. So why is he acting like this is brand new information?
His name is going to be DeMarcus Latarius Patterson Jr., and I don't care what y'all got to say, and that's what it was.
But if you know the real truth, and you know that he might not be the biological father, why give in to the name and name this child after him?
Because
knowing that there's a possibility.
I was in love with him. We were together all the time. I mean, he demanded it, that's what he wanted. He denied the DNA test.
In an emotional confession, Miss Knight reveals that deep down, she had always hoped DeMarcus was Mr. Patterson's son. Between the two possible fathers, Mr. Patterson was the true gentleman, the kind of man any woman would want to build a future with.
When I asked DeMarcus to do something, he will. When I asked, but the only reason why he stopped doing the things, like he used to come in and just do it without me having to ask. But because I chose to allow Felicia and Ladarius in his life, DeMarcus told me I'm going to go ahead and take a step back and let Ladarius step in.
I ain't say that now.
Yes,
I said that out this.
Just when it seems like this case couldn't get any more complicated, Miss Knight drops another bombshell. Her godmother is none other than the other man's mother. The courtroom is stunned by the sheer audacity of her actions.
So you said Miss Sigler is your godmother.
Right.
So the other possible father is your god brother?
Right.
Oh.
Ladarius.
Are you making this look bad?
Lord.
But the most ruthless twist, Miss Knight allowed the other man's family to spend time with DeMarcus, despite knowing there was a chance he wasn't their blood. How does she justify that? Biologically, a child can only have one father. With emotions running high and trust shattered, only the DNA results can reveal the truth. Who is DeMarcus's real father?
The biological father is Mr. Sigler. What do you feel right now?
Hurt. Could have been avoided.
It could have been avoided.
I love that little boy right there. I know he's gonna be happy. You bring him out right now, you're gonna run straight to me.
In this episode of Who Is Obviously the Father or Not, Miss Smith appears in court uncertain about the paternity of her 4-month-old son due to a miscalculation during her pregnancy.
Miss Smith, you are here in court today because you claim a miscalculation during your pregnancy has left you unsure about the paternity of your 4-month-old son, Lamondre. Now, today you hope to determine whether your ex-boyfriend or the defendant, Mr. Brooker, fathered your child.
Mr. Booker humorously admits that in his morning conversations with Miss Smith, he sometimes struggles to understand what she's saying. However, the real confusion arises when Miss Smith realizes her pregnancy timeline might align with her ex-boyfriend instead.
Talk to me about this miscalculation.
I went to 3 different doctors, and they told me, well, yeah, you're about 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, and they did it by the chart. So that led back to my ex. And then that next week, I went and I got a blood test done, and they said that just about the same thing, 8 or 9 weeks, and my due date was April 9th.
Miss Smith reveals that each doctor gave her a different estimated due date, one of which matches her time with Mr. Booker. Conflicting medical opinions intensify the suspense, leaving both the court and the audience in shock.
Where it gets confusing, I was stating that me and Mr. Brooker had sex August on the 14th, and then that's when I went to the doctor again on the 24th, and they gave me a date of May 13th, and at that time, I'm like, that corresponds with the time me and him having sex.
To make sense of the situation, expert witness Dr. Gator explains that Miss Smith's irregular menstrual cycle led to discrepancies in her estimated due date. His testimony delves into the complexities of pregnancy calculations, keeping everyone in the courtroom at the edge of their seats as they await the final verdict.
Have you reviewed the paperwork we submitted to you, and how can that happen, and why does that happen?
It actually happens more often than you would think. At Miss Smith's first visit, she basically was given a potential due date of April the 9th, and that was based off of her last menstrual period of July the 3rd.
During an emotional moment, Miss Smith recounts her conversation with Mr. Booker about the uncertainty of paternity. Despite his doubts, he remained both excited and nervous about becoming a father, choosing to be supportive and attending the initial doctor's appointments, proving his dedication regardless of the outcome.
He was the father, at least a strong potential, right?
Right.
So what were you telling him?
Well, I'll let him know up front that, you know, Trey could possibly be the father, but he was really upset because it would have been his first child. do, and that would have just made him happy. But he said that if I, whatever happens, he want to be there and he want to be supportive.
Then comes the shocking revelation. An at-home DNA test shows zero probability that Mr. Booker is the father. Miss Smith, however, questions the accuracy of the results, arguing that her son was born prematurely and that a nurse had advised against using a home test.
Probability of paternity, 0. What did you think then? You did?
Yes, ma'am.
If you say you don't believe this test was accurate?
I don't believe that because I feel like he was born early, advises not to do it. So that's why I don't believe that it's accurate.
In the most emotional moment of the case, the court finally unveils the official test results, sending shockwaves through the room. Mr. Booker's expression shifts between anticipation and disbelief, while Miss Smith grips her seat in nervous anticipation. The truth isn't what they expected, but one thing remains clear: commitment to facing reality together, no matter the outcome.
Mr. Booker, you are not his father. I'm sorry to have to deliver that.
When a case in paternity court took an unexpected turn, it sparked curiosity, suspicion, and left us all with unanswered questions. A distressed mother claimed that Miss Briggs' deceased son was the father of her daughter.
Seeking DNA results to determine the father of your 3-year-old daughter, Nora. Ms. Briggs, you claim your son had no idea he may have fathered a child with the plaintiff. In fact, you say he never even mentioned.
The plaintiff revealed that she and Mr. Jones never had a committed relationship. Instead, they shared a one-night stand. This made it possible, but not certain, that he was the father.
One night that I had came home from the club, and it just that particular night the alcohol in me was talking. It was a one-time thing, and we socialized, but we weren't that close, not to have relations with one another.
She grew emotional as she recalled her first meeting with the little girl, struggling to process the situation.
She's really a good person, When she finally did tell me that I had to maybe possibly have a grandchild, I asked where she was, and she told me that she was in the store, and I finally met her, and it was like an electric shock went through my body like it was meant to be.
Despite the pain and uncertainty, Miss Quiller knew she had to go through this for the sake of her daughter. It was a difficult and emotional journey.
When I spoke with her and told her it's a possibility that Charlie could be the father, she looked at her, she picked her up, and she just burst into tears. She said, "This is my grandbaby." I just knew that she was my granddaughter. I had been dreaming about her for days.
Surprisingly, baby Nora became a source of comfort for Miss Briggs during this heartbreaking time. In the midst of grief, the child brought a sense of peace and joy.
And I touched her, and it's like if you're sticking your finger in the socket, and my whole body was electrified, If she's not mine, I still love,
But then, a shocking incident involving Mr. Jones was revealed, leaving everyone stunned. Even hearing about it was terrifying. Yet the defendant showed incredible strength.
I was shot 2 times in his chest, $3 in a pack of cigarettes where they killed my son for. When I showed up to the house where they killed my son at, his blood was still wet.
And then in a chance encounter, she doesn't know your son is passed.
Your Honor.
What happened to Miss Briggs' son was tragic, but witnesses were still needed to determine the truth about baby Nora's paternity.
What is it that you know about this situation?
When he died, my son was the only child that was stated of him having. I don't know nothing about her. I don't know her at all. But her daughter, she deserves to know.
Miss Briggs had already been through a similar experience once before and didn't want history to repeat itself. It was heartbreaking to see how cruel life could be sometimes.
She was at the funeral, everything, rubbing this girl back, rubbing her feet, cooking everything she wanted. We were setting up a baby shower she never showed up to.
So she just disappeared? She ran off?
Disappeared. And then she went on Facebook and said she had a baby shower.
Ultimately, everyone involved desperately needed answers, for Mr. Jones, for baby Nora, and for closure. And now, it was finally time to reveal the results. Would they bring relief and happiness?
It has been determined by this court. Ms. Briggs, you are not her grandmother. So sorry.
Infidelity is a relationship crusher. Mistakes like these can define a person. And in this case, Mr. Pierce believed that Miss Covell had cheated on him with 2 different men when she conceived their baby.
Window of conception, but you still say you have no doubt Mr. Pierce is your child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you feel about being dragged into court today?
I'm a little upset. I want to prove that he's the father.
Though she took responsibility for her actions, the damage had already been done. Her betrayal was tearing the family apart. It's clear that cheating destroys trust, but for For Mr. Pierce, this situation went beyond a simple breach of faith.
Going back 10 years ago, I've had the same thing happen to me. A young woman get pregnant, I was 18 years old, but she told me at the time that it may not be my child. But I still was a man that stepped up to the plate, went to and still took care of that kid. And at 6 months old, me and the mother weren't together, we were separated. As you can see, this child looks nothing like me.
The judge then asked how the infidelity came to light. It turned out that Miss Covell had dropped the bombshell confession after the baby was born.
I proposed to her. She was pregnant with Julian at the time. I don't know what came over me, but I was just like, you know, we're doing really good right now. We're whatever. If there's anything, you got to tell me. She told me, you know, that she had cheated on me back. I can't remember the exact month that she cheated on me. I lost it. I mean, I started crying. I was very upset.
While Miss Covell had her own reasons for keeping the secret for so long, Mr. Pierce felt completely betrayed. He was already a victim of a past fraudulent incident, and this deception only deepened his wounds.
I was scared of losing you. I was afraid of losing my family if I told you. My plan was to honestly never tell you. I couldn't deal with it. My conscience wouldn't let me.
Is that fair to him?
No, you're right, and that's why I'm here today. I've said I'm sorry a million times. I have said I'm sorry.
As their case unfolded, the paternity question began to shake the very foundation of their relationship. Their once stable bond had now turned into a fragile mess.
He was very supportive on and off. You say you were there. You might have been there physically, but not emotionally. And the other guy was asking me, you know, are you okay? I felt emotionally like he was more there for me.
How do we know that's the only time, though? If he does prove to be mine, how do I know that it's not happened any other time?
Mr. Pierce insisted that the baby looked nothing like him, reinforcing his doubts. However, Miss Covell argued that the child was identical to how she looked as a baby, insisting that her word should be trusted.
This mistake has not only led you to question Julian's paternity, but also to question your entire relationship.
You know, she was the good girl. She was never going to do this to me, knowing what happened.
In addition to the DNA test you request today, you're also requesting a lie detector test.
Correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Pierce could no longer rely on her honesty after such a deep deception. And when a situation gets this messy, there's only one way to find the truth: a DNA test.
She cheated with was white. That looks completely like a white baby. I mean,
that's what I was about to ask you. What does the gentleman you cheated with look like?
He is white. He does have blonde hair, but blonde hair also runs in both sides of our family.
He looks nothing like me, and I'm not saying he's not mine.
Would the results mend their broken relationship or confirm Mr. Pierce's worst fears? The truth was about to be revealed.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Pierce, you are Julian's father.
Yes!
Great news, right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're so welcome.
Miss Percival stepped into the courtroom with a bold claim. She was certain that Mr. Henson was her father. However, Mr. Henson strongly denied the accusation, insisting that he had never even been involved with her mother.
Not sleep with Miss Percival's mother at the time she was conceived, and there is no way she is your daughter. Additionally, there is yet another young woman claiming Mr. Henson is her father.
The trial began with Miss Percival's testimony, during which she revealed that Mr. Henson had denied her existence for years. Strangely, he had acknowledged her sister, which made his rejection even more painful.
And also through my mother. He accepted her when she was a baby.
Why is it you deny?
I was married with another woman at the time. Me and the other woman that I was in a relationship with was having a baby.
She conceived. In his mind, there was no possibility that he could be the father.
Were you told that he was your father?
When I was 6.
The relationship?
No, I barely met him 2 months ago at Teresa's house.
The judge turned to Miss Percival's mother for answers. She explained that Mr. Henson had a long history of being unfaithful, not only to his wife, but also to his girl. Like Mr. Henson, Miss Merchant didn't hesitate. Her testimony directly challenged his denial. According to her, he knew for a fact that Mr. Henson had been in a relationship with Miss Percival's mother at the time she became pregnant. If Miss Merchant's claims were true, then Mr. Henson had been deliberately lying to avoid responsibility. The case was no longer children. How could he recognize one daughter while completely denying the other?
He cheated on me.
So, Mr. Henson, you're also
my older brother. I confronted my brother, and he told me yes, he did.
The judge wasn't fooled by Mr. Henson's evasions and, more importantly, irrefutable.
Was your mom's a
I didn't call you.
You did numerous times. You're gonna be like your mom.
My mother's one thing.
I lived with him for 3 years. He never denied any of my brothers.
I apologize for saying the bad things about you.
Now there was only one way to settle this dispute once and for all: a DNA test. Would Mr. Henson
stupid people fight on paternity court.
I'ma own up to that. I did not want him to be the father, but my child sure do got a lot of features. He grew into it, but when he was born, it's genetic things. I asked Terrell about my son. I told him about it. Oh yeah, that's me. So if that ain't your baby, take your shoe off. Let me see your toes.
You wanna see my
Yeah,
toes?
let me see. Take them off. You got on, did you put on socks today?
You ain't do nothing for your own son, so I don't even know why you here. You didn't take care of him, so why are you worried about my child? All right.
She don't know.
She don't know. A wife brought her husband to court, swearing her newborn baby was her hubby's, while he, on the other hand, was busy pointing fingers at Mr. Alfred, the alleged other man. Let's see how this mayhem unfolds.
You have no doubt that your 1-month-old daughter, Annabelle, is your husband's biological child. You only had sex with Mr. McDowell during the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say your wife is nothing but a cheater, and you believe that the man she left you for, Mr. Alfred, is in fact Annabelle's father. You want out of this marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mrs. McDowell was playing a rather risky game, going from Mr. McDowell to Mr. Alfred, all while juggling a few other fellas for good measure. While the husband aired his wife's dirty laundry, the missus took the stage and shared an idea brought forth by hubby dearest that was a huge red flag. Only fair to see that, right?
The children we have lost their mother. I'm a single father at the moment. I'm taking care of them by myself. She just one day told me she was going to go to her, and then she called me later that night and said she was going to end up spending the night. Well, the next day, the female friend she went to go spend the night called me and said she walked into the home and caught her, Miss McDowell, her boyfriend, on the couch cuddling.
While that idea got shut down, but did that stop the defendant from narrating tales of drunken nights and misunderstood slumber parties? Not at all. The courtroom was on fire with distrust and resentment in the air. And these guys were not coming slow.
At some point in this marriage, I mean, no matter how messy, difficult it has been, you end up pregnant. And you tell your husband?
Yes, Your Honor. Me and him had sex on October the 27th.
I do not recall that.
He's a liar, Your Honor.
And since then, she jumped from boyfriend to boyfriend, co-worker to co-worker.
Now, even the conception calendar, the baby daddy was not buying a word. And he had good reason to do so, claiming she plotted to fool his family into supporting her. And mommy had done it before too. Or so the defendant's witness claimed.
But she told me from day one that it was his, like she's saying now. I believed her as a grandmother.
Well,
I'm gonna do.
So at first you believed.
Yes, ma'am. I
like
took her to the doctors. She called me wanting food. She called me wanting money. I done her and her boyfriend's laundry.
Grandma had a ton to talk about the baby mama. I guess being taken advantage of can do that to a person, huh? And by the looks of it, mommy indeed was living one such life if we were able to believe the defendant and their claims. Moreover, mommy didn't let this family come to the hospital, but now claimed that the baby was theirs. Confusing? I think so.
I even give her and her boyfriend money to come and do stuff at my house just to earn money.
You knew it was her boyfriend or you found out later?
No, I knew it was her boyfriend. I tried to work it to where they could get back together because my thought, even though she's a but to me, they have 3 children together and she should be not on the street.
Oh, the tangled web continued as Mrs. McDowell introduced Mr. Alfred into the equation. Now, it was a party. To sum up their origins, Facebook rendezvous, few secret meetings, oral confessions, and voila! A spicy paternity mix. Who knew love triangles could be this complex?
November the 9th, I sat there and messaged him on Facebook, seeing if I can come over and chill with him and hang out. And then, yes, we ended up having sex that night.
First night,
While you're married?
Yes, Your Honor. He asked me to come back the next day, and I told him I would. Well, we ended up getting together that next day, which is November the 10th, and we had sex that day, too.
About time Mr. Alfred joined these guys and this whole fiasco. But boy, did he have crazy, shocking revelations regarding mommy. Would you believe that he thought the baby was neither his nor the defendant's? Well, he said that and more.
I don't believe me or Michael, either one or the father. I think it might be the gentleman that she was with before she tried to work things out with Michael.
What's interesting here is you say the baby's your husband says the baby's your lover, and your lover says the baby's by another.
So there were more than just these 2 contenders for the baby daddy's role. Boy, that's a lot of math to do and complicated as heck, right? I mean, How do you even begin to navigate through this? However, after all this, and Mr. Alfred still stood by the baby mama, and that got her emotional.
I have custody
The first
of the
5 months
prior
of her
3
pregnancy,
kids.
she believed that it was Mr. McDowell's. Up until the 6th month on, she tried to claim that it was mine.
Exactly.
I personally believe
Exactly.
she just was trying to see who would take her in and support
Who would
her.
give her the most money and feed her better?
I don't believe the baby's mine. I hope the results are different. Like I said, we are in a relationship together.
Well, D-Day arrived as the DNA results were in. Tensions rose, emotions were laid bare, but the truth was about to hit them with full force. It's a verdict that will decide the fate of relationships and last names.
Mr. Alfred, you are her father.
Thank God.
Mom was right.
Well, get ready for a roller coaster of cheating and cyber deception. Fast forward to the paternity trial. The guy was married and not interested in fathering her child.
I ended up in a relationship with Terrell, and I wouldn't consider it a relationship. I would consider it friends with benefit. I was on Facebook, and he was always liking my pictures. He was commenting on my pictures. He was always trying to get attention, to be noticed. One day, excuse me, I'll let you talk.
Turns out this odd dynamic started with a love for rap. According to Mr. McKinley, was all head over heels for him because he had his music thing on. Huge claims. Let's see if the baby mama plays along with such a narrative.
I took him to the studio. We spit some bars. Make a long story short, we ended up dating, having sexual encounters. We protected ourselves majority of the time. I had been drinking, and we had messed around. I wasn't sober enough to make the right decisions, and he knew that.
That's a lie.
So he took advantage of that.
That's a lie.
Okay, so wait a minute.
Classic. He said, she said unfolding here. According to the plaintiff, Mr. McKinley is 2 decades her senior. Who goes for an older dude, right? Good point. But wait, how did Mrs. McKinley catch wind of the whole saga?
He opened the door. I went in there. She laying in the bed, under the cover.
Whose house was this?
I took the cover off her head, and I'm like asking him, "What's going on?" He's like, "Well, we doing music. Sit down." I was like, "No, I won't sit down." And that's how I found out. I had an idea it was her. They on there flirting with each other on Facebook. I'm like, okay, I just had to put a picture to the face.
The alleged baby daddy, Miss Thompson, wasn't feeling her best. She made a smart move and headed to the hospital. Hold up, though. The baby mama claims she was ready to do whatever it took to identify her child's daddy.
I called him in the hospital on the second day because I looked at my child and I said, dang, man, I'm going to own up to that. I did not want him to be the father, but my child sure do got a lot of features. He grew into it, but when he was born, it's genetic things. I asked Terrell about my son. I told him about it. Oh, yeah, that's me. So if that ain't your baby, take your shoe off. Let me see your toes.
You want to see my
Yeah,
toes?
let me see. Take them off.
And if you think the drama was just about it, then you are wrong. Mr. McKinley was gearing up to twist the entire narrative. Miss McKinley introduces a curveball, a cryptic text unveiling the real daddy.
And it was this picture, and the caption was
Legend's
real father.
Yes,
Goodbye.
goodbye.
I have nothing to hide. I did not say that. You can go ahead and prove it.
So
Go get it.
how do you
Go do
think
what
they
gotta
got
do.
this text if it didn't come from you?
This woman made a fake page. I have my page private. That's how I know it got to be an app. Because
Oh, you're saying they made this. They created
They
this.
made it up because she made up a whole fake page.
That's the scoop. With enough theatrics captured, it's Judge Lake's moment to reveal the DNA results. Are they crafting beats in the studio, or is there a different mix at play? Let's find out.
Mr. McKinley, you are the father.
And he's a handsome baby. He get compliments all the time.
He is beautiful. In the spirit of that beauty and that innocence.
I don't want drama. I never did want drama. It just hurt me when I ask for something and they don't do it.
Got to love a paternity court episode for its share of family drama. In this one, Miss Knox is fed up with Mr. Bailey's persistent denial of being the father of baby Cash. And she's pointing the finger at his tight bond with his mama.
I had to struggle to take care of him alone. I paid for everything.
That's because you wanted to, little girl.
He quit his job, and
He
in
did
June
not
of
quit his
2014, I asked him, when will he start to pay for something? And he said he will.
I always had
July 13, 2014, when it came, he didn't have anything.
Now, shifting gears to Miss Bailey, who's not holding back either. Firing shots at Miss Knox, she claims Miss Knox is chasing after her son because of some gold-digging motives. According to Miss Bailey, Miss Knox's interest sparked only when her son hit it big with a dance career. Gold digger alert!
I had to buy wife, car seat, strollers. I haven't seen anything from it, Mr. Bailey.
Well, these are receipts for walker, car seat, baby expenses. They total $6,960.
Yes, ma'am.
Half of which is $3,480, which you say he would be responsible for.
Yes.
Miss Knox, though, came prepared with receipts. Judge Lauren dives in, questioning Mr. Bailey about his involvement when cash entered the world. His defense? Miss Knox supposedly took off to Texas, leaving him out of the loop.
I left to go to Texas because I needed help to raise my child. I couldn't go to your mother because your mother didn't even raise you.
Why do you think she left?
Only she knows the real reason why she left. I have evidence.
I'd like to see that evidence. What is this evidence, sir?
And I have evidence showing that you only got those things because I said I was going to put you on child support.
But hold on. Judge Lauren is puzzled. Mr. Bailey was there doing the pregnancy, even signed the birth certificate. So what's with the sudden paternity doubts? Did Miss Knox pull a fast one on him?
I just so happened to go through her phone. She was texting me and this little dude just around the same time, telling us it was like the same conversations, right? The last text message said, I'm gonna come give you a hug and a kiss from the other guy. And my text message said, I'm on my way to come get you. So it's pretty much whoever got there first. If he would have got there first, if she was already pregnant, that probably would have been his baby.
Brace yourselves for a bombshell. Miss Bailey spills the beans, alleging that Miss Knox was already pregnant when she met Mr. Bailey. According to her, it's a paternity trap. Time to unravel this messy situation.
She met my son in October. Either way, whether it was November or December, it don't matter, little girl. It don't add up. She never one time got out of the bed. She's always covered up. So when I see her, she's like maybe in between here.
So you're saying she looked like she was 5 or 6 months pregnant
when I physically saw her, when she told me she was 3 months.
Miss Bailey continues claiming that every visit to Miss Knox revealed her hiding under the sheets, concealing a 5-month pregnancy. From day one, she warned her son about Miss Knox.
Every time we want to see cash, if you give me a case of diapers, you can see cash.
The reason why I don't give them to him because their house is not even properly, it's not even a house. I still don't trust my child with you because you didn't raise your own child, so I have a problem with
you. You are a liar,
girl. You didn't raise your own kids, why would I freely give my child to you?
Looks like it's shaping up to be a Knox versus Bailey showdown. Mr. Bailey appears unbothered, indifferent to the outcome. Before chaos takes over, Judge Lauren calls for the moment of truth, asking Jerome to bring in the results.
Mr. Bailey, you are Cash's father.
That's my son. I'm gonna move forward, you know, what I gotta do as a father, and I'm not gonna let her bring me down, but just keep doing what I'm doing, because I know the truth.
You both are gonna have to figure out how to parent this child.
A paternity mystery that's been going on for a whopping 34 years. Miss Krieger thinks Mr. Dittmer's denial of being a dad is as believable as spotting the Loch Ness Monster. On the flip side, he says he got tricked into paying child support and now wants payback.
I had to pay $300 more to get out of jail, and when I went and talked to the court clerk told me that by paying the $300 that I admitted guilt, and I got stuck paying child support for the rest of Jamie's life.
And you don't believe she's your biological child?
I do have my doubts.
Hold on, folks, because it's about to get wild. The baby mama starts showing pictures, but Mr. Lee isn't buying it. He boldly accuses her of trickery throughout his life. And trouble? Nah, more like a disaster in paradise.
The older two children have blue eyes and blonde hair.
And you never claimed them or paid child support on them.
Because you didn't tag them and you never had me sign
If you were a man and responsible, you would have signed the birth certificate.
I didn't want the children in the first place. You were the one that wanted marriage and babies.
Oh, the doubts and questions about Miss Krieger's pregnancy. Despite having 2 more kids together, Mr. Dittmer, the doubtful dad, feels betrayed, like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones.
She's the one that looks different than the older children. The older children have blonde hair, blue eyes. Jamie has dark hair, hazel or brown eyes.
Every child is different.
Well, why would she trick me into paying child support like that, Your Honor? I wasn't even at the hospital when Jamie was born.
You most certainly were.
Moving on, we hear from the daughter about when she found out. But before she finishes, Mr. Lee jumps in, claiming Miss Lee switched her relationship status and accusing the baby mama of going off the pill. Yikes!
I fought for 2 years to get visitation to see these children. She kept saying that I would kidnap the kids, that she'd never see them again. It took me 2 years to get visitation, then they gave me supervised visitation.
It was your drinking? I wasn't gonna let my little children go with you drunk.
Now the he said, she said battle begins. Both sides accuse each other of cheating and more. Some of it's true, but the baby daddy insists it's not about the money. He pays child support.
They said I owed $13,000 at that time. Only $3,000 was owed in child support, that the rest of it was administrative fees, interest, and surcharges. I paid it off to get it off my back so they'd leave me alone.
You paid the amount of $6,500
Yes, ma'am.
to settle your child support debt.
Yes, ma'am.
Next up, the daughter talks about the good and bad things the supposed baby daddy did. But he also did some mean stuff, like telling people he wasn't her father and their grandpa. Seriously, man?
He told my daughter's dad that I wasn't his, and I had to hear about it, which is pretty embarrassing.
No, I never told her.
What happened? I told my middle child's dad, you guys were drinking, yes, but still, if you said it, then you feel it, and you shouldn't be telling my friends and stuff. It's one thing to say it to me.
Finally, the daughter lets out all the emotions from these years. She tells how tough her life has been, with the defendant acting like a heartless. However, the big moment, folks, Miss Jamie wants answers, and Judge Lake has them. Get ready, because this was a wild ride full of emotions. Here we go!
Mr. Dittmer, you are her father. Mr. Dittmer, how do you feel?
I feel kind of relieved, Your Honor. I'm glad that she is, but her mother put such a doubt in my mind back then. She was always messing around, you know.
My mama was protecting me, and me and you both know why. Yeah.
Protecting you from your own father?
Protecting me from your rumors, from all y'all rumors.
Okay.
Protecting me. That's why I got you here today. I called, not y'all. At the end of the day, I got a man that came in my life at 10 years old that brought me to my daddy.
I felt like we were over. And I told him that multiple times. We're done. Don't call me. Don't come to my house. Do not disturb me.
But
He
at the same
continued
time,
to be
she's
persistent.
still calling me. She'll still come to my mom's house to help her out with this or that, and I would. So if we're so broken up.
This man says it is impossible that he fathered the defendant's 2-year-old baby because, and get this, she was just a fling. As we all know, babies never come from flings. And as such, this should be an open and shut case. Here is how it starts out.
Mr. Johnson, you admit you engaged in a sexual relationship with the defendant while you were traveling for work. A mere because you say Ms. Walters is a shady manipulator. Is that correct?
You're a playa, Mr. Johnson. Sleeping with a woman just 3 days after you met her? That is some movement, my boy. But this movement also means that there is a possibility that you might be this child's father. However, things are going to get a little bit interesting before we get to that.
One day I told her I was going on lunch. We ended up going back to the room. Her wedding ring fell out of her pocket. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yes, ma'am. And I left it on the nightstand.
Yeah, that makes it all good then, Ms. Walters. So this is a married woman who decided to hook up with another man just 3 days after meeting him and is now dragging the man to paternity court to prove that he is her child's father. This is crazy, and it will get crazier.
Was Mr. Johnson the only man you were dating at this time?
Nope, because every time I was in the car with her, she was telling me to hush up. See, that's what she didn't know.
Okay.
And I had a whole girlfriend. Those, you know what I'm saying? She getting money from folks and stuff. That's why, you know what I'm saying?
This is insane. He has a girlfriend, a wife, and might also have a baby mama? Does Mr. Johnson not have any other job aside from getting women? What is happening here? But let us talk about this child.
She called me or whatever, and she said she was pregnant. I told her congratulations. And she was like, why would I not use protection?
Your Honor, I called Mr. Johnson after I spoke with my ex.
Yeah, it is a possibility. Mr. Johnson says he never slept with Ms. Walters here without protection, and that there is no chance he is her child's father. Mrs. Walters insists there is a chance he is the father, but Mr. Johnson says that's a lie, and basically disappears for the duration of the pregnancy.
When I informed him that I was giving birth.
I thought about it. I mean, yeah, I thought about it.
Oh,
I
she's
thought
a
about it,
beautiful
of
little
course.
girl.
Well, that is the sort of pickle you get yourself into when you have a girlfriend and a wife and still decide to get on dating apps to see if you can mess with other women. But Mr. Johnson here is making an accusation about a third dude. Let us hear him out.
The whole dude you, man, 3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago. Went digging in old Facebook photos and screenshotting old pictures.
So now we are getting somewhere. Ms. Walters says she has had a DNA test done for the other guy, and it turns out he he isn't the father. This means that the kid must belong to Mr. Johnson, right? Well, let's find out more.
When I went to my follow-up appointment, they put my date of conception as around between December 2nd and on December 5th, we were at my house drinking tequila and partying.
And so you remember the dates specifically.
This is looking like an open and shut case, isn't it? Mr. Johnson was in town and with Ms. Walters during the window of conception, and they probably did not use protection during that time. This means that Mr. Johnson has to be the father, right? And Mr. Johnson has also been doing the most.
Not to her. If he felt like that my daughter was not his, why do you feel the need to reach out? Why do you feel the need to text me and say, oh, how's the princess? Never one time said, Amir is not my child to me.
Yup. Why are we here then? We are here to find out who's the father of this kid. All the facts seem to point to Mr. Johnson, but things can get crazy in paternity court, and things are hardly what they seem. Let us find out what the final results have for us.
It has been determined by this court. You are not the father.
Miss Lester is 1,000,000,000% sure that Mr. Lewis is her child's father, and she says the only reason he is denying paternity is because he no longer has access to her. Mr. Lewis says that's a load of nonsense, and here is how they state their cases.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lewis, you claim Miss Lester was openly sleeping with several men, and there is no way you are her son.
Me and Stanley planned my son.
We did not plan a baby.
Wow, it seems there are some huge disagreements here. Ms. Lester says that Mr. Lewis planned to have a child with her, and they have never used a condom. You know what they say, kids? If you don't use a condom, you are planning on having a kid. And it gets worse. Mr. Lewis has accusations of his own.
Street to be a hoe, and...
All right, let's be respectful.
Excuse my language, just
He's, Your Honor, he's...
Latoya is a hoe.
Did I just say use respectful language in the court?
Well, Ms. Lester may be accusing Mr. Lewis of being her child's father, but no one is certainly accusing him of having any manners. The bottom line is that he thinks Ms. Lester is loose, and that is the only objection he has. Anyway, why would he even sleep with someone if she was loose? Of course it gets spicier.
She inboxed me back saying all guys want to do is have sex. I lied and said no the very first night. No condom.
He's lying. So he wrote me on Facebook in March of 2016.
What? Okay, this is crazy. Ms. Lester says this baby was planned because Mr. Lewis told her he wanted her to have his baby while they were sleeping together, and she believed it? Am I getting this right? Forgive me, Judge Lake, but this mother has some deep issues. But she says it isn't quite like that, and there is a twist.
It was also times to where we talked about this.
So I'm like, okay. Several months afterwards, she tells me I'm not the father.
No, correction. Actually, he thought I was playing when I said I was pregnant.
Oh, so maybe there is some truth to Mr. Lewis's claims, because if another man was in on this gig, then it probably means that Ms. Lester was actually sleeping around, and this man actually acted like the child's father.
But he cut the umbilical cord and he signed the birth certificate. So how am I the father?
So you let another man sign the birth certificate when you told Mr. Lewis it was his child?
Why do I have to chase you around? Why do I have to tell you this? If I've told you once...
What the actual heck is going on here? What is this? So Ms. Lester was sleeping with this other man around the time she got pregnant, and now he's acting like the father, but she is sure that this other man is the dad. But this story has even more twists.
Because we did a test and it came back that he was not his father, and he knew that because it was posted on social media.
Who posts paternity results on social media?
Exactly. Who does that? No one but Ms. Lester. If your mind has not yet been blown by this case, get ready for it to be blown now. Mr. Lewis started as the untrustworthy defendant, but now things might be looking up for him.
I've been shot multiple times where the doctors have pumped so much medicine. They told me that I couldn't have kids at all.
And since that time, you haven't fathered any other children?
No.
There is a fiancé, and yes, if you can believe it, this man is also in court today. She has been with him for 10 years. So here is how it is. Ms. Lewis has one fiancé, a potential baby daddy, and another man who is acting like her baby's daddy. Let us hear from the fiancé.
And you've been sexually active with her for those 10 years?
Not at all, y'all.
Stop lying, man. Quit front.
When I got in the picture, rating was already, I say 3 to
for months.
What? What? And you will not believe it. But this case gets even crazier because apparently, despite all of this, Ms. Lester has been trying to sleep with Mr. Lewis behind the scenes, and she tried it again 2 weeks ago, even after she said she was now in a serious relationship.
What?
Bucket naked. Bucket naked. In the tub while he's out of town, trying to get me to come have sex with her.
Do you have proof? Did you say
proof? What I need proof.
Phew. Ms. Lester is one of the messiest people to ever come on paternity court, and that is saying a lot considering the quality of people who come to this court to plead their case. Anyway, here is what the DNA results eventually revealed.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
This 4-month relationship led to $92,000 in child support owed by the supposed father. And to make things even worse, the father, Mr. Wooten, and his daughter, Ms. Smith, are now in court to prove that the daughter in question, Ms. Backus, isn't his. Here are the crazy full details.
Ms. Smith, you and your father, Mr. Wooten, are suing to prove Ms. Backus is not his biological daughter. You say your dad owes more than $92,000 in back child support.
She thinks Mr. Wooten is her father and demands a full and complete apology. Will she get it? Who knows? But Ms. Smith here is convinced that this entire debacle has ruined her father's life, and she is now here to share how.
Primarily through the actions of her mother by being very deceitful with my father from the very beginning of their relationship. They initially did not start garnishing his wages. It wasn't until later when he was started drawing Social Security.
That is a lot of money to pay for a kid that isn't yours. Can you imagine having to pay so much money for a kid that you believe belongs to another man? This is the life that Mr. Wooten is now living, but he is determined to change that story. But Ms. Backus has other thoughts.
Then he should have showed up when I showed up, when they took blood from me just to have the test. He should have showed up testing, we wouldn't be here today.
Ms. Backus is saying they drew blood?
Yes, ma'am. I was a young girl.
Are they really, though? Are they going to learn today? Because if there is one thing we know, it is that things don't always go according to plan here. This is paternity court after all, and Ms. Backus isn't done with her testimony just yet.
I was conceived when a year later after him and my mother was together. And they was together for 7 years, so you tell me.
They were not together for 7 years.
See, let me explain what happened.
Yikes. It seems Mr. Wooten believes he was just being used for his money. But here is the thing. He didn't question the paternity of Ms. Backus when she was born. If he did not question it, then why is he questioning it now? And that is when we realize just how deep the rabbit hole goes.
My mama said I was a player child.
She became pregnant again years later, and she wanted to get back together. When I got back together with her, I'd asked her, has she been seeing anybody else?
Yeah, we want to find out the truth, but only if Mr. Wooten can speak his own truth so that we can finally understand what exactly is going on here. Because this case is already getting complex, and we don't even know the dettles yet. Thankfully, Mr. Wooten can now share his side of the story.
When I found out that she accused me of being the father of the second child.
The end of their relationship. As we were growing up, we did not discuss Miss Backus because we did not know.
Make out both our brothers.
Now, that is crazy. Ms. Backus insists that she is Mr. Wooten's daughter and believes that her entire family knows this truth too. After all, they found her on Facebook and were calling her their long-lost relative. But Ms. Smith has a slightly different story.
And then, after I accepted the friend request, then she would post up pictures.
And I am my spread.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away.
Well, you cannot say that Ms. Backus isn't 110% certain she's a Wooten. After all, she walks like a Wooten, talks like a Wooten, and maybe even interrupts Judge Lake like a Wooten and screams in court like a Wooten. But then it gets crazier.
Mama was wrong for handwriting it in because he was not there when I was born. He came later, but when I filed for my new one, it came up blank on his name.
Wait a minute. So Mr. Wooten's name wasn't actually on the birth certificate and Ms. Backus's mom just penciled it in? Is that how that even works? I don't even think that's legally binding. If that's true, how come Mr. Wooten owes money then? Is he even legally culpable? Anyway, Anyway, Ms. Backus has a picture that she says proves she's a Wooten.
In the middle, and then CC on the end for life.
Your Honor, as a young child, I did take that picture in my iron.
Can't talk
the
about
reason is because she was not the only child that came through my family.
What an incredible family drama we have got here today. But Ms. Backus has one last piece of evidence that she believes proves her case. She says that her grandmother, old Ma Wooten, told her she was a Wooten before she passed. Now, did this really happen? Let us find out.
And up to that point, when I told my mother, I said, yes, she is. And that's when my mother decided to apologize to her.
So you told your mother that she is your daughter.
We can really feel the pain of Ms. Backus here. She feels she has been wronged and will have her apology. But Mr. Wooten doesn't want financial ruin because of child support payments. Well, let us see if the DNA test results can solve this problem for us.
Mr. Wooten Jr., you are not her father. I know this was not the answer you were expecting.
No, it wasn't, but I had to do it.
Mr. Lillard says he has been forced to open this case because a blast from the past now claims he is the father to her 20-year-old son. Mr. Lillard says this is impossible because he caught her cheating when they were together in high school. But that isn't quite how Ms. Holt describes it.
Ms. Holt, you say you have unsuccessfully tried for 20 years to get Mr. Lillard to accept.
Me and Ms. Holt met back in 1997. She was the first for some other things.
Phew, seems like there was a lot going on between Mr. Lillard and Ms. Holt. But hold on a minute. Let us hear Ms. Holt's side of the story. She must have something to tell, right? It is time we found out.
We was in a good relationship. We shouldn't have been doing at the time.
Things were wrong when I caught her cheating. Oh, on this very sunny, bright day.
Oh, so Ms. Holt skipped school to cheat, and Mr. Lillard, being the romantic that he was, decided to check out what was happening and discovered that he was being cheated on. Now, why would he believe this boy here is his son if Ms. Holt could cheat on him? And it gets worse.
I see a fella that I end up knowing. Knew this guy, me and him never had any issue. He like, darn, he's shocked to see me, I'm shocked to see him. Like,
I was just a friend. We was not in there for no,
But if Ms. Holt knew she had a boyfriend, why was she locking herself up in the house with another boy? The answer is that she was probably cheating, but Ms. Holt does not want to admit this.
Before that even happened.
So after the door incident...
That makes it even worse if you already pregnant and you gonna sleep with somebody else.
No, we did sex, so therefore you cannot deny and say that.
Yeah, there was no way this man was going to trust this woman after she took his heart and broke it into a million little pieces. But there is more of this story we do not yet know. Let us find out.
But I just really want to come to find out if he is so I can have closure, me and my mama.
And they look just alike. I mean, you can tell on the pictures. They look just alike. The secret. So
every time people get to paternity court and pull the argument that the father looks just like the child, it is always kind of weird because it means nothing. People can look alike and still not be related. It is quite common, actually. But more details yet again.
After she called me years later, when I'm already in the system, go down there, take him down there, and have him tested. We did, and I got a paper saying that I could be excluded as his father.
Wait, so he has paperwork proving that he isn't the child's biological father? If he has that result, then why is he wasting this court's time with all of this? Apparently, that result got lost in the system, and Ms. Holt is denying it even exists. Here are more details on that.
Now, are you sure that wasn't a result from maybe the other case?
No, it wasn't. Trust me, I've had 4 of them done. If there's any kind of discrepancy with any woman, my name was under this case. My name was under it.
Wow, Ms. Holt was really having a lot of fun during those days. So she has had 2 other people tested, and they were presumably not her kid's father. Now she thinks Mr. Lillard definitely is. But why should Mr. Lillard believe that when he knows how loose she's been?
I had another guy tested, and he was not the father. And that was because I was dealing with him, but me and Darius had got together.
Did you ever tell Mr. Lillard?
Last night, this has been a long day. It is time to finally get cracking and see the DNA results for ourselves. Is Mr. Lillard really the father, or is this yet another mistake by women who don't know the fathers of their kids?
Mr. Lillard, you are not the father.
I really am. Sorry.
Ms. Yancey's relationship is on the rocks because she visited her ex in Vegas and told him that he might be the father of her 7-month-old son. Once her boyfriend, Mr. Thomas, found that out, he got really mad. And here is how that case begins.
Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So, Missy.
Well, it's important because, well, we've been having a few issues ever since my baby was born.
Well, that is a noble intention. Dear Ms. Yancey here wants to save her relationship. Who wouldn't want to do that? But that quest comes with a lot of questions, and the biggest ones are the ones Mr. Thomas has.
It's hard, you know, because I do love her and all, and throughout the whole relationship, we always talked about having a child together, but, you know, now it's like...
He was seeing somebody, and then I started seeing somebody, but basically it...
Well, now you are friends with a kid in paternity court. More like friends with paternity issues. During this period, both of them were dating and sleeping with other people, but there were also some weird issues.
I told him that multiple times.
If we were so
we're
over,
done.
you
Don't
wouldn't-
call me. Don't come to my house. Do not disturb me. Leave me alone.
But
he
at the same time, I would. So if we're so broken up...
Really, Mr. Thomas? Is that all you were doing? Is that what you want us to believe? Really? No way. What do you mean just hanging around at the gas station? That is high school behavior. Let's find out how Mr. Thomas felt when he figured out that Miss Yancey was pregnant.
And I'm like, you know, I was happy for the simple fact that over the years, we were trying to conceive and have a baby. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, yes, it finally happened. And then after she told me...
So what do we have here? We have two very immature people who were sexually irresponsible who are now blaming one another for this mess they are in. But at least it cannot get much worse than this, right?
Newborn, beautiful baby. What were you thinking?
The first thing I was thinking, I mean, I was overcome with emotions, you know what I mean? I'm happy, I'm like, you know, about time. I see him and it's like, he's a handsome young man.
Well, that happens sometimes. You see, when two people get together and make a baby, sometimes the baby looks like the father, not the mother. So that isn't a very good reason for thinking a baby isn't yours. But Mr. Thomas has his own theory of these things.
The thing I used to say, like, if it looks like the mother too much, then it might not be the father or something.
Oh, boo. Wait, now did you make this up or this is something you heard?
Yeah, you know what? That does sound like something you would come up with yourself, Mr. Thomas. In fact, I cannot imagine someone else coming up with it but you. It is very Mr. Thomasy. So why did he sign the birth certificate after all of this?
But watching her being born, being in a whole pregnancy, just being in the moment, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to go through all that, not believe that they're not the father or nothing, you know? So, of course, I signed it, just...
You know what? That was actually a really good reason from Mr. Thomas here. He was caught up in his emotions, and he didn't think before signing the certificate. But let us get to the craziest part of this entire case.
We had took a trip to Fresno to go visit family, and I ended up going through a phone, and I noticed
him told him straight up.
Because we were back for, like I said, 4 or 5 days, and then we had an 8-hour ride together.
And that is a fantastic point. The only way to get to the bottom of this crazy drama is to see the DNA test results. Let me tell you, the results of this case will absolutely blow your mind to pieces.
Mr. Thomas, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It's okay, Your Honor. It's all right. I mean, I still love her, and I still love him at the end of the day, but if she wants...
Miss Davis claims that Mr. Cole is the only man who could be her daughter's father, but Mr. Cole claims that is impossible because a classmate informed him that he wasn't the baby daddy of this particular kid, and here is how it starts out.
Cole, you admit to initially accepting Autumn as yours and even signing her birth certificate, but now claim that Miss Davis is untrustworthy.
Phew, too many facts? We all know that when people reference facts in paternity court, they are usually talking about evidence that basically doesn't matter. Let us see if Mr. Cole's evidence actually matter in this case.
I'm just questioning right now because ever since I met her, she's been lying to me about stuff. You know, people been texting her, random people been walking up to me asking me stuff about her.
That is how it always begins, isn't it? Two young people meet, immediately get into bed without protection, and when the baby predictably arrives, they get into all sort of arguments that never existed when they were getting down together. Let us listen to Mr. Cole.
When Ms. Davis told you she was pregnant, did you question paternity then?
Not when she told me through the text. I went to school like a week later and someone walked up to me. She wasn't even pregnant that long.
Wow, okay, I take that back. Mr. Cole says he has some facts, and it appears that he has some facts all right. But Ms. Davis has her own facts too, and she submitted a calendar that says Mr. Cole was the only man she was intimate with in February and in March. Let's see.
My ex-boyfriend, I had stopped intimate with him in January. It was the beginning of January.
All right, so right around here, that's when you were having sex with... Oh, that could not be.
Ooh. To make things worse, Mr. Cole says he asked Ms. Davis a bunch of questions about the guy, and she never gave him any credible answers to make him believe that the child was actually his, and this guy didn't know what he was talking about. Unfortunately, they would not let Mr. Cole get a DNA test because he had already signed the birth certificate. Bad move. Here are more details about that.
Signed it at the hospital because I told her after we had the baby at the hospital, and she got mad. So I fell asleep in the hospital when they came for the birth certificate to sign it.
But why wouldn't she wake him up even if she was that mad at him? This was not about him. It was about her daughter and having an actual dad present in her life. Anyway, Mr. Cole thinks she did this because she was not sure if he was the father or not, and here is more.
At some point, your name got on.
Yeah, like 2 months after she was born. She looks just like you, that's your twin.
And you accepted Autumn as yours, or you still had doubt?
I accepted her as mine.
Phew, the same guy? Really? That is just about enough for anyone with their head screwed on tight to have very serious doubts. And if you think that was crazy, listen to what Ms. Cole did next.
And was asking the same people who does Autumn look like more, because I'm 100% sure that Adrian is the father of Autumn. And I was getting other people's opinions and everything, and they all said that Adrian's look like Autumn.
Exactly. What are you taking a poll for? This is about the weirdest thing I've ever heard on paternity court. If someone says your kid does not look like her dad, you ignore them and tell them to kick rocks. You don't go on Facebook and set up a poll. And you guessed it, it gets even worse. Let us hear from a witness too.
Some people walking up to me asking me, you don't claim your baby, whoop-de-wop.
However, my sister did admit to me that she had sex with another guy 2 days.
Well, you cannot be 100% sure now, can you? That is what we have the DNA test for. And this DNA test result will show you just how crazy the lies women tell can be. Here are the results in all their glory.
Mr. Cole, you are not the father. Ms. Davis, would you like to finally just lay it on the line and tell the truth?
It hurts. It's embarrassing.
Mr. Alexander is trying to legally remove his name from the birth certificate of the child of his ex-girlfriend, Ms. Stewart, because he believes he's not the father of the child. Ms. Stewart believes otherwise, that the negligence of Mr. Alexander has left her and her kids homeless.
Mr. Alexander, you are suing your ex-girlfriend for $40 for the cost of the administration fee to legally remove your name from her 4-month-old daughter, Jariah's birth certificate, because there is absolutely no way you are her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alexander stated his reasons for trying to determine paternity, that Ms. Stewart was having an affair with another man. His name was Dexter, that she was also keeping late nights, and this was during the window of her conception.
Text messages and several phone calls from this guy named Dexter. She wouldn't answer the phone when I was in the room. I guess she would wait until maybe I left or whatever, so that's kind of a suspicion for me.
So you saw text messages coming in on her phone?
Right.
But you never questioned her about it?
Yeah, I asked her about it, and she told me, like, don't worry about it, like, basically, like, it's none of my business.
Ms. B. Stewart disagreed, that she didn't even tell him about the pregnancy till about 2.5 months later. They were going through a rough patch. Mr. Alexander said they were on a 3-month break when he learned about the pregnancy.
That's why I'm in doubt, too.
Because this was during the window of conception.
Right.
So you feel like she was cheating on you during the time Jariah was conceived.
Correct.
Is that true, Ms. Stewart?
No, Your Honor, it is not. And I'm not even sure why he denies. I mean, I didn't tell him.
Ms. Stewart said they were still having sex together during the break, and she wasn't cheating on him. She was suspicious of Mr. Alexander that he was the one cheating on her. She even put a tracking device on his phone and discovered that he was in fact cheating.
I don't understand how he doesn't say that. Every time we're on a break, it's not necessarily a break because we still have sex, so it's not really a break.
So, were you cheating?
No, Your Honor, I was not. Let me tell you what happened. So, I started feeling that he was cheating on me.
She submitted the evidence to Judge Lauren. It was displayed on the monitor and read aloud to the entire courtroom. Mr. Alexander denied it, that the messages weren't his.
That is when he was gone. He told me that he was at his aunt's house, and obviously you can see there he's talking to a girl
So
right there.
at 7:08 p.m., his phone got a text from a number that's not yours that says, "I'm looking forward to tonight."
Yeah.
Ms. Stewart came clean that she was only pretending to be talking to a man named Dexter to get back at Mr. Alexander. Dexter was her female friend. She only changed the name. She never cheated on him.
Somebody else's fine booty.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Stewart, I'm trying to understand what this all has to do with Dexter. Because if we're being completely honest, even if this is his phone log and he was going after someone else or dating someone else or cheating, that would not have anything to do with the paternity of Jariah.
Mr. Alexander brought out his sister as a witness. She was also friends with Miss Stewart for about 15 years now. She said Dexter was a real man, that Miss Stewart was really seeing him, and they've gone out to meet other guys together before. Miss Stewart denied all the allegations.
Stewart and I have been friends for over 15 years, and we've always talked and told each other secrets about, having backup plans as far as if you have a boyfriend, keeping one on the side for when your boyfriend makes you mad, you can, just go talk to other guys or whatever. So as far as this guy goes, it's not a hoax. They actually hang out all the time.
Mr. Alexander said during a previous argument, Miss Stewart had told him that the baby was not his. The judge confirmed the statement, and Miss Stewart agreed. She said it only happened once. She said she only wished it wasn't his baby so that they would go their separate ways.
Recently, yes, we have. They just had a little break also, and she thought he was cheating, so we went out to go hang out with guys.
She's also told me several times that when we be in the heat of an argument, that the baby's not mine. So
I said that one time.
Therefore, I have doubt.
Miss Stewart has been shouldering the burden of raising the child on her own. Mr. Alexander said he cannot take care of a baby that he's not sure of. He's a good father to their first child, but not the second one. Only the DNA results can save the child from neglect at this point.
Mr. Alexander, you are her father.
Brandon, after a 12 years relationship with Ms. Fuller, got a shocker when she confessed that their 3-year-old son may not be his biological child. He broke off his engagement to her, and he's struggling with the possibility of losing his son. Ms. Fuller said she was having an affair with another man at the time. She hid this from Brandon.
3-year-old son Brandon Jr. may not be your biological child. Now you say your engagement to Ms. Fuller is broken off and your heart is in ruins because of the possibility you may now lose your son too.
Yes, Your Honor.
Brandon said they got separated when the baby was 6 months old because they had to move. He took the baby to a birthday party. When he returned the child, Ms. Fuller wasn't home, and she wasn't answering her calls. This went on for days.
Had to separate because we had to move.
So you all were in a relationship.
We were in a relationship.
Baby was what? Born.
Yep. And we were living together.
6 months in.
6 months in, we had to move. We fell on some hard times.
Okay.
Respectively, I moved back to my mom's.
A week later, Brandon started receiving calls from a private number. It was Ms. Fuller. She had gone to spend the week with the man she actually thought was the biological father of the baby. She requested for a face-to-face meeting with Brandon.
He asked you on the phone, or he said, meet me and I want to talk about this?
He asked me on the phone. He was mad at me and he was upset. He was wondering where we had been that whole week. And,
where were you that whole week?
I had left to go be with the guy that I thought.
Ms. Fuller presented a picture of the other man, that the baby started looking like him. That's why she disappeared. She was feeling guilty. She didn't want to lie to Brandon.
Why would you just disappear? Where did you go?
He started looking like the other guy to me when he was 6 months. I have a picture. To
So
me, he just didn't look.
Okay, now
He didn't
the
look like
pieces are
neither
coming
one.
together.
He didn't look
Pieces are
like
coming
he
together.
didn't look like neither one of us to me at the time.
Brandon presented pictures to the judge, showing how close he was to the child. He was there for the kid as a father would. He cared for the child and fed him. The kid even has his last name. He never had any doubt that he was the father.
This baby is named after you.
Oh, yeah.
It's your son.
Sleeping on my chest at night, just everything. I barely move. I would sleep like this, real quiet, real.
He discovered her infidelity when she forgot to log out from her Facebook account after using his phone. He saw the messages in the inbox, and one of them stood out. She told the other man that the child doesn't look like Brandon and she needs his help.
I was on my way to some bad things. When he was born, it's just like, I gotta stop.
Brandon Jr. is 3 now.
3.
So you spent the next 2.5 years continuing to bond.
Yeah. And then we had a falling out, like serious falling out. She got on social media on my phone, okay, but didn't close it.
This led to a long and heated argument between the couples. The neighbors had to call the cops for domestic disturbance.
It did.
So what happened?
I got upset, okay? Well, actually, I sat down on the couch at first. I was like, So I handed her the phone. I was like, read this. So she reading it, she kind of got a little look on her face or whatever. And I got up after that, and I went to the washer, and I started taking...
Ms. Fuller said she had been in an on and off relationship with the other man for about 8 years, till when she had her baby. This left the entire courtroom in disbelief. She presented a calendar chart to the judge showing the timeline of her relationships with both men. She said she wasn't supposed to have a child, that her child was a miracle baby.
It was off and on for about 8 years or whatever. Around the time
It went on for how long?
It was like 8 years off and on, but it wasn't like
8 years off and on?
Yes.
Oh, until what time?
Brandon never knew another man was ever in the picture. He had no clue. Ms. Fuller, with tears in her eyes, apologized to Brandon, that Brandon was the perfect man to raise her child and not the other man. Brandon said she was the one that broke off the engagement and there might be no coming back. Only the DNA results can settle this squabble at this moment.
Mr. Brandon Robinson Sr., you are his father.
Mr. and Mrs. White, a newlywed couple, make an appearance in Judge Lauren's courtroom today. Mrs. White is trying to save her marriage by proving that Mr. White is indeed the father of their 3-year-old daughter. She agreed to have cheated in the past, but the results today will help her gain her husband's trust back. Mr. White disagrees. He said he's ready for a divorce.
Ms. White, you've opened your case because your last and only way to save your marriage and family is to prove to your husband that he fathered your 3-year-old daughter, Savannah.
Yes, sir.
You admit you've cheated in the past, but hope once the results are revealed, your husband will trust you again. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White said his wife was having her ex-boyfriend over while he was at work. His neighbors told him. This prompted him to snoop around her social media, and it led to a quarrel between them. The ex-boyfriend showed up. This confirmed his suspicion that something was going on between them.
Just the other day, she was at my mother's, and she woke up and she asked, "Where's Daddy?"
And I can see this is just tearing you apart.
It is.
It's just eating away at you. I can see that. Explain to the court how it has been for 3 years to have doubt.
It's been rough and emotional because when it first all come about to where I had the suspicions, it was she was having an ex-boyfriend come over while I was at work.
Mr. White said a week after their wedding, his wife was constantly cheating on him. Everyone in the courtroom, including the judge, was stunned. She asked Mrs. White if the allegations were true. She said they were, that she was suffering from abandonment, issues being an adopted child and all.
You just don't have any trust in this relationship.
No, because from a week after we got married until February of this year, I've been catching her cheating constantly.
A week after you got married?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. White, have you been cheating?
Yes, but I have abandonment issues because I was adopted. So if he's not showing me the love and affection that I need.
She said their anniversary is in 2 days, that she wanted to make this right, that she's certain he's the father of the child. She moved in with her husband when she was 19 years old and got pregnant after 8 months. They married after the birth of their first child, and she started cheating immediately.
You admittedly have been cheating. You've had to open this case to prove paternity of Savannah in hopes of saving your marriage.
Yes, our anniversary is in 2 days, and so I want to make this right so we can better our marriage and prove that Savannah is his.
Mr. White found out when the baby was 6 months old during an argument. His wife told him that there's a high chance he's not the father.
Mr. White, when did you find this out?
I didn't find out for sure until she admittedly told me when Savannah was 6 months old that there was a 50-50 chance that Savannah wasn't mine.
And how did you get to a place where you decide you're going to tell him, Miss White?
We got into an argument and we ended up splitting up, and I was over at my mom's house.
Mr. White presented text message evidence between his wife and another man on Valentine's Day. She planned to go spend it with him because Mr. White didn't get her anything.
My father and mother's issues and seeing it, and I'd rather not have my kids in that environment where they're seeing mom and dad argue over something. They don't need to see it. They either need to have family together where there's no issues, there's faithful and everybody's sticking to it, or we do it as separate parents, but we still sit there and have a civil.
Mr. White presented pictures of his wife sexting other men to the judge. He said he took his wife's phone into his possession after seeing all the text messages. Mrs. White said she didn't do anything sexual with the man on Valentine's Day. She just went over to talk.
And I assume, Mr. White, since you handed this up to the court, this is not your body part.
No.
This is what you found in her phone.
Yes, this is the gentleman that she went to his house on Valentine's Day.
Tell me what happened behind that story, Ms. White.
We didn't even do anything on Valentine's Day. We just sat there and talked. That's all we did on Valentine's Day.
Mrs. White says she wants to turn over a new leaf. No more cheating. That's why she's here in court to determine the paternity of the kids and move on with their lives.
You're saying you're not getting what you need in the marriage. So why not just leave the marriage? Why keep doing this if you are going to engage in this type of activity?
Well, I called the court just so I can get the results of the kids. And
Mr. White, with tears in his eyes, narrated how he loved his kids and she couldn't live without them, that his wife was emotionally manipulative towards him. Her current pregnancy is still under scrutiny because of her cheating habits. Only the results can lay this to rest.
Mr. White, you are her father. How do you feel?
I feel happy.
How do you feel, Ms. White?
Relieved. because he's a great dad and I want him to be all of my children's father.
Together for years, had 5 children, and had countless arguments. But today, they weren't here to argue. They were here for a truth that could shatter what little was left of their relationship. The tension between Alexandra Douglas and Tyrone Jones could be sliced with a knife. She insisted he was the father of her daughter, Cheyenne. He wasn't so sure.
Ms. Douglas, you are suing the father of your 5 children for a paternity test. You claim at times the defendant, Mr. Jones, doesn't treat your daughter, Cheyenne, as his own, and that he has always been suspicious that he's not her biological father.
Let's just say their love story wasn't your average fairy tale. And when the court pulled back the curtain on their chaotic relationship, things got messy, fast.
Do you believe the defendant has reason to doubt the paternity of Cheyenne?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. I did make a mistake. I slept with his cousin and the condom had broke. But before that, Tyrone was downstairs sleeping with my cousin. He was still having sex with his baby's mom.
Wow, indeed. It turned out that they met at a party in her building, hit it off, and within a day, they were in bed. But it didn't end there. Tyrone had other relationships, other baby mamas, and wasn't exactly faithful. Alexandra, well, she wasn't innocent either.
How did you meet? Was this relationship ever good?
It got good. I met Tyrone actually at a party that happened downstairs in my building. I met him and his cousin almost the same night. Me and Tyrone got together the first night we watched movies. The next night we did have sex, but we weren't.
She admitted to sleeping with Tyrone's cousin, and not just any cousin, but the same one Tyrone had accused her of hooking up with when he literally smelled the guy's cologne on her bed. Yes, Tyrone walked into her room, sniffed the sheets, and caught the scent of betrayal. She denied it at first, but 2 years later, she came clean.
Sort of. We actually wasn't in a relationship at the time when she slept with my cousin, but she basically just denied doing it up until the point. That's the reason we here now.
Okay. What did you feel, Mr. Jones, when you heard Ms. Douglas say, I'm pregnant and it's...
Now Tyrone was doubting everything, including whether Cheyenne was truly his. He had been suspicious from the start. When Alexandra told him she was pregnant, he didn't jump for joy. Still, he claimed he stepped up, signed the birth certificate, showed up when he could, and even worked 2 jobs.
So you go in and you smell, you know the cologne, your cousin, you say, okay, I know my cousin was here, but she denied everything. How long did it take you to tell the truth?
2 years after my daughter was 2 years old.
Okay, so you are in this, are you in a committed relationship?
No.
According to her, he didn't care, didn't support her, and vanished for months when she was pregnant with their son, running off to Chicago with another baby mama. She didn't find out from him. Oh no, she got a message from the other woman, gloating about having her man.
When the baby was 2, he went to Chicago with his other's baby mama. We were together then, and I'm pregnant with his son. He went to Chicago. We didn't hear from him for about 4 months. Didn't call, check up on the daughter, didn't call, check up on the pregnancy or nothing. How I knew he was in Chicago with his baby mama was she texted my phone like, oh, you're looking for your man?
Judge Lake didn't hold back. She was baffled, trying to make sense of this whirlwind of relationships, children, and cheating. She asked the tough questions. Was this ever a real relationship? Was there ever any commitment? Or were they just co-parenting while destroying each other emotionally?
It's as if you're speaking about this thing like it's, oh yeah, because I was with my other child's mother and I just went on to Chicago and then he went there. And I mean, you all 5 children potentially together. Was your relationship ever committed? Was it ever an important thing to either one of you?
Their story was a twisted cycle of betrayal. When one cheated, the other followed suit. Alexandra wanted to believe in their family. She claimed she didn't believe in cheating, but her actions told a different story. Every time he cheated, she struck back. It wasn't about love anymore. It was about payback. And now, Tyrone was questioning everything, even whether he should test the twins because he wasn't sure if they were his either.
Even after child number 2, you think he's cheating?
Yeah. I just had my twins 7 months ago. He's still talking to women. I don't never talk to anybody first. After I find out he cheats on me, that's when I do it. I really do want to be with him, and I want to make a family for my 5 kids.
Now, Ms. Douglas, you just keep saying, okay, now see, I do.
But today the focus was Cheyenne. And after all the messy details, the lies, the betrayals, the cousin drama, there was still one burning question. Was Tyrone Cheyenne's biological father? The courtroom fell silent as Judge Lake dropped the bomb.
Mr. Jones, you are not Ms. Stremke, you've dragged Mr. Jaramillo to court in hopes of saving your family, which you claim is falling apart due to paternity denial. You say the defendant doubts paternity for both of your daughters, 4-year-old Naviana and 8-month-old Alexis, but you want to prove that he is their father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The lovers spat to the utmost dismay of Judge Lauren was happening right in front of the kids, with the 4-year-old Naviana, who was confirmed by both parents as being a smart smart kid, picking up some cues, which left the poor child wondering who her real father is, further driving a wedge into the cracks.
Part because my daughters are basically growing up how I had to. We didn't have both parents, and even when we did have both parents present at different times, we were denied. I feel like they can't trust their dad because he denies that he's their dad half the time. And my 4-year-old Naviana knows. She can hear the, well, I'm not her dad anyway.
Mrs. Stremke almost broke down in tears as she narrated how they met at the tender age of 13 in a lockup facility. Apparently, they both had rough childhoods growing up, and she's trying her very best to give her daughters something different.
It's on the line now?
Yes.
How did it begin?
We met very young. I was 13. We met in a lockup facility we were both staying at. We had no choice. We didn't have good childhoods at all, so we had to stay there. I see it now, and I don't want it to go down that road to where they have to go through what we did. And it's... Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
The plot thickens as the circumstances surrounding her first pregnancy are brought to light. There were several men in the picture, one whom she had a son for before reuniting with Mr. Jaramillo when she returned to Iowa, and another whom she slept with 3 weeks before coupling up with Jaramillo.
13 years old. He said that I was gonna, be his baby's mom a long time ago. And it's hurtful now that, yes, I am your daughter's mom. And it just gets shoved under a rug and forgotten about because he doesn't feel that those are his kids. I had just gotten out of a relationship with my son's father and had moved back to Iowa. Well, I ended up...
One of her closest friends went behind her back and snitched to Mr. Jaramillo that Mrs. Stremke had been sleeping around with numerous men, and the pregnancy was not his. This led to the doubt Mr. Jaramillo had about the daughters.
She called and decided to tell him that I was sleeping with multiple men. And from that point on, he had doubted it, which I really don't understand because how can you base your daughter's paternity off of some girl you had never even met?
Well, it was one of your friends, you'd spent time with her.
What did she say to you exactly, Mr. Jaramillo?
She said that the baby that Miss Stremke had...
The birth certificate of Naviana, which was presented in the courtroom, shows that Mr. Jaramillo fully accepted that he was father, which he later chalked up as a spur-of-the-moment decision as he was happy then, but eventually the resentment concerning her paternity started seeping in.
The biggest sign was cigarettes. Anybody that had smoked and came back in anywhere around me, I'd instantly throw up. And that's how I know really early on.
But what I want you to understand is that, he gets this call and somebody says, this is not your baby, this is the person she was with before you.
Yes.
It's his baby. That?
The wife revealed that she was perfectly okay with having one child at the time. The husband was pressuring her for another child, a male child. She ultimately caved into his demands and they decided to spice up their sex life by having a threesome. To top it off, he even brought his own male friend to participate in the second threesome. Even Judge Lauren was bewildered.
That's the part that is the hardest for me to believe because I was done having kids. After I had a boy and I had a girl. I didn't want any more. I pushed my luck. I have a boy, a girl, they're both amazing kids. And there was a point in time where the whole paternity of Naviana was not brought up and he was practically begging me for another child.
No protection was used during the threesome. The entire courtroom heaved out a huge sigh. Judge Lauren shook her head in disbelief. 3 weeks later, she was pregnant with their second daughter, Alexis. He said he takes full responsibility for the mishap. When Alexis was born, he didn't sign the birth certificate. He felt considering what happened, leading to the pregnancy, that there was no need. He also added that Alexis looks like his buddy.
We ended up having a female-female threesome with him, so he got to pick another woman, and it was what it was. We did it, and then it was maybe a couple weeks later it got brought up. It'd only be fair if we had a male, and you. So I said, okay, all right, that's fine. It's something new.
The wife and the husband have been calm throughout the whole hearing. This was commended by the judge, but neither of them is ready to concede to the other. Only the DNA results can put an end to this. The moment of truth.
Mr. Jaramillo, you are the father.
A middle-aged woman, Venus, 56 years old, comes to Judge Lauren's courtroom to defend her deceased son. He died from a violent gun crime. His name was Dominique. The accuser, in the shape of Amber, 21 years old, says Venus's deceased son is the father of her child, and she's here to prove it.
Ms. Mangrum, you're here today after losing your son to a violent crime. You say the defendant, Ms. Schools, is claiming your deceased son is her child's father, which you say is impossible.
Yeah.
Ms. Schools, you say you have no doubt that Mr. Mangrum fathered your child, and today you will prove it to his family. How did you find out about Ms. Schools' pregnancy?
Miss.
Mrs. Venus said she was made aware of the pregnancy on the day her son died. Amber approached her at the hospital and told her that her son is the father. Amber countered her statement. She said she messaged Venus on Facebook first, before approaching her at the hospital.
That I didn't want to hear. No time. No, I just didn't want it.
So, Miss Schools, is that how it happened?
No, it's not. I actually wrote her on Facebook and told her, I was like, hey, Miss Venus, my name is Amber. I'm actually downstairs. I was like, I don't know if Dominique told you or not, but I'm actually 3 months pregnant with his baby. I was like, I'm downstairs in the hospital.
Amber said she was very emotional upon seeing him hooked up to tubes and machines in the hospital. Venus rubbed her back, that everything will be okay. Venus interrupted her. That was not how it happened. She didn't remember any of that. She was too overwhelmed with her son's condition to care.
Be okay, don't worry.
No, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. No. That did not.
That didn't happen.
So sorry. No, I don't remember none of that. Now, the Facebook thing, okay, came after Dominique was already gone.
Right, but you got it. And you told me you got it.
And I wrote you back.
Venus said that before her son died, he told her that about 4 girls were claiming they were pregnant for him. She was acquainted with 2 of the girls, but she never heard of Amber.
I did not care.
I understand you.
Like
yes, I do.
My son told me several times, okay, that there is about 3 or 4 girls who say they pregnant by him. Now, I knew about 2 of the girls, okay? I knew about 2 of the girls, but I never met Amber.
Amber said during the pregnancy, she kept Venus updated with everything, including baby showers. Venus responded positively with prayers and promised to come visit her at the hospital, which she did. Venus said she picked the baby up and immediately knew her son was not the father. She knew from the baby's hair.
Where he sent me little forwarded messages off Facebook with prayers and stuff, telling me she loved me and, you know, she's coming to the hospital to see me and my baby and stuff like that. And she came and saw my baby for about a couple minutes. She came and sat there like the second day I had my daughter. She came to the hospital.
Venus said she was tired of Amber bringing up the issue, that she needed no reminder of her late son's face, that the only reason she was in the courtroom was to put the matter to bed once and for all. She was screaming at this point. A heated argument broke out. Judge Lauren had to use the gavel to bring them to order.
Beautiful hair. Beautiful.
All Mangrum babies had a head full of hair when they were born. Every last one of them. You know, Amber, I apologize, you know, but I honestly did not want the baby to be his baby.
Why is that?
I did not. Because I did not. Mine is of my baby.
With glistened eyes, Venus narrated how she dealt with her son's demise by avoiding his Facebook. The judge reminded her that a beautiful baby was in court today. Amber iterated that only Dominique's father was kind to her. This prompted the judge to call Dominique's father to the stand to give his own version of events.
He did so much to me, like words, verbally. It was.
Miss Schools, I have to say this. I don't think you were trying to do anything malicious. I just think, unfortunately, this mother at that time could not process it all. Now her husband, Dominique's father.
Yeah.
The father said he was aware of Amber's pregnancy because Dominique introduced her to him. Venus interrupted that she was not aware. When did this happen? He said he's not here to argue, that he's sticking with what his son told him. Venus said she doesn't believe it, that a DNA test was initially done, which came back negative.
It is. It's just a fight, you know what I'm saying? Between them, and it's like, I don't want to be in the middle of it. However it goes, I would still like to be around.
DNA was taken from Dominique's body after the day he passed away. The documents were presented to the judge. Amber said since it was blood transfusion, it could be wrong. Venus interjected that Amber was living with another man at the time. Amber said she wanted to undergo a DNA test then to determine who the father was. At this point, only the new results can tell.
When it comes to 18-month-old Dominique Samaya Mangrum is not related to Andre and Venus Mangrum.
Mr. House, a 48-years-old bishop, appears in Judge Lauren's courtroom, being accused by Ms. Webster, a 20-years-old woman, of being the father of her child. It was made known by the judge that Ms. Webster was involved with 3 men at the time. One of them, who is 9 years older than her, was waiting outside the courtroom.
Mr. House, you're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Webster, you admit you were involved with 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. House met Ms. Webster when he took on a new assignment in New York. They hit it off immediately, bonding over tragedies. He never for once assumed they were in a committed relationship.
I had in Jacksonville, moving to Buffalo, New York, take on a new assignment as a pastor. I'm a bishop, but I'm also a traveling pastor. But I'm also a man. I want to stress that right away, that I'm a man and I have manly needs. So it doesn't mean that I won't see a woman, but I'm also a pastor.
Ms. Webster said she met Mr. House through her aunt. It was supposed to be a Bible study, but One thing led to another and it became sexual. Mr. House interrupted her. He said they met at a fast food joint and exchanged numbers. Ms. Webster refuted the statement that it was at church.
We could probably, make a relationship and go a little bit further as time went along.
So, Ms. Webster, please tell us a little bit about the relationship as you saw it.
We met through my aunt. We met at a church. It was supposed to have been like a Bible study thing, but instead of that, it was like more.
Judge Lauren had to step in to refrain the bishop from calling Ms. Webster derogatory names. The bishop said it was just a hookup, a booty call. The courtroom gasped. Ms. Webster agreed that it was just a casual relationship, nothing more. She said she was also sleeping with her boyfriend of 5 years at the same time, Mr. Miles Jones.
Well, in Hosea chapter 4, God called Gomer a whore.
Well, we're not in Hosea chapter 4. We in paternity court, and I'm the judge, and in this courtroom, we're going to respect women. Now, you can tell the story without calling her name.
Mr. Miles was called to the stands. He said his relationship with Ms. Webster started off casual, before becoming a committed one. He said he was not aware that she was sleeping with other men at the time. The judge said it seems only Ms. Webster was aware of both men. She nodded in agreement.
Andre Miles Jones.
Mr. Miles Jones. All right, we are here with Ms. Webster. And of course, we are discussing the paternity as it relates to little Emilion.
Yes.
So was this a relationship or was this just casual sex? What were you guys doing?
It was, at first it started off as casual sex for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I started catching feelings.
When Ms. Webster found out she was pregnant, she tried contacting the bishop. His phone was off. When she gave birth, she couldn't reach him for any support. Mr. Miles said he had to provide the child with diapers and stuff.
I did. She'll tell you that her phone was off. Her phone went on. My bankroll's on swole, and I kept hers on swole as well, too.
Never. My phone bill was off of 2 months.
I'm sure glad your bankroll is on swole for baby Emilion, just in case you end up being the father.
The bishop said he never knew about pregnancy. He only found out about 30 days ago through her aunt, and he came right away.
I just found out less than 30 days ago at the most that she had a baby. Her auntie called my superiors in my organization, and I got a phone call saying there's some woman saying that you left her with child in New York. I made the phone call, and I was told 30 days ago, just 30 days ago.
Mr. Miles said he found out about the pregnancy after 5 to 6 months, and she told him he was the father. Ms. Webster said she told Miles there was a possibility he was the father. The bishop jumped in and said that this was why he had doubts about the paternity of the child. The courtroom clapped.
Really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months. I said, so you trying to tell me that it's mine? She said
5 to 6 months before you told him?
Well, I was 4 to 5
I didn't know it all.
So when you told him, I'm pregnant, did you then tell him, and you're the father?
No, I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
Ms. Webster presented a birth certificate. Nobody was listed as the father, but she gave the baby Miles's last name. The bishop said if she was happy with Miles, why did she contact him? She said she had to make sure who the father is, and she's ready to find out. And she was not alone in that regard. Only the DNA results from the court can clear this. Show results.
Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father. Mr. House, it has been determined by this court that you are not her father.